transition right into the actual output itself. All right. Hello, greetings, engineers. I was building some blueprints and stuff for stream stuff. So the little looping building of that Hawkeye was the first bit that I just kind of threw together off of a video. I don't think I published that Hawkeye yet. I'll have to get to it. But the rest of what I was working on, part of it was the end stream video. Let's see if I can transition that so we can see what the OBS is seeing. This end stream is supposed to be previewed over here, but it would not show unless it was playing, because I guess it's opening the file and then projecting over here. So I had to turn off the studio mode, go over to the and boom, learning on the fly. Now that we're back on the desktop capture, I want to open a couple of files. I want this one and this one. So to make everything that I've been doing, I was using OBS, which is Open Broadcast System. That one's open for free. I'm also using Shotcut in order to edit videos. That's also available for free. Using GIMP for some of the wireframe ripping. This is really good. I'm only using it specifically for this because I did not care to learn a new video or image editing software. So that's all I'm using it for, is that edge clipping ability, but that is also free. And this is Photoshop CS2, which I've had forever. Back in the day when you could buy a software license and that was good for life instead of good for a month or whatever period of time. But that's what we were doing here. So we'll close that one, or at least minimize it, because that was the little bit that I had for the video there, and then it was all editing effects on top. This was the project I wanted to get back to. It's just a super long canvas. And I've just got the details of one of the Space Engineer ships that I had made, and then kind of cut out little pieces of it to make it look more like a blueprint schematic, and then did the wireframe off of GIMP, toss it in here, and now I've got that. And the idea with this is to go to Shotcut. That's not the Shotcut one I want. I want the Shotcut with Blueprint Skull. There we go. We'll open that one up. And I love my Photoshop so much that it just stays open all the time. So I have to make sure I minimize it, otherwise I get the bars all over the place. This is the blueprint one, and I only have that one done so far, so it's actually going to transition into itself here. And we can minimize that, or mute rather, And that should go through here. And this is what I would want on like the loading screen. I think I need to shrink this down a bit more to say that it's loading up here. And then I wanted some sort of silly inspirational quotes down here. And then as this transitions through a ship, this is the little screen wipe, and it'll be into another ship. And since I just have this one at the moment, I want to get more. Oops, let's pull Photoshop back up. So this is excellent. This is what I want. I may even turn this into a gray background like I've had before on some of the missile tests that I did, just because this light blue, it's not really flying with me. Not kind of the orange and gray and white and black that I want to use. So it's direct contrast to that. What I can do is I will disappear that Defiant, and that way I can get my slate clean there, and I can just make another folder over here. And we'll make another folder. I'll actually put you over here, and I have, we can do that behemoth. Actually, I may already have the behemoth wireframes. Let's go into and we'll make another folder. Screenshots. Do I have behemoth wireframes? And I have. We can do that behemoth. It's battle cruisers. Build a ride. Battle cruiser. The behemoth wireframes. Let's go. I don't have everything, but this is a start for the behemoth. Screenshots. Do I have behemoth wireframes? Yeah. Yeah. So I will. I've got screenshots of the ship already. Or is this the smaller one? Build a ride, battle cruiser. I don't have everything. No, I think this is the bigger one. This is a start for the behemoth. Don't want that one. Yeah. We'll take this. I've got and this and this. This is the smaller one. So it's just a bunch of screenshots that I took, and that's all you really need to start with. And there's a bunch of them. Each of these are their own individual file, as we can see through here, and they're all locked. Not going to go through all the intricacies of Photoshop, because you can use whatever video editing that you want. And I'll just throw them into this one I was doing the blueprints on. And as I throw them in, I need to get rid of that original file. Just close it out. I won't need that anymore. Move these over. So we've got that one there. We got that on side. We'll throw this guy. My Photoshop likes to act up a bit, so you'll frequently see stuff disappear over here as I move things around. I'll have to perform a bunch of extra clicks just to get my bar to show back up. I don't know why it does that, and it could just be because it's so old. It's always acted weird for me. Let's close this and one more. And now we have all of our images on this behemoth layer in the main one over here, and I need to edit each of these guys. So you're all in about the same place, and I will get rid of the visibility of all but the one. We have all of our images. Let's make our canvas a bit bigger here. Ideally, this should all be easy to get rid of, just like one click on the background. And I can change that with my wand tolerance, which may even make me want to take new photos in a higher contrast area. Because I can only get rid of so much. Otherwise, I have to cut around everything. And I really don't want to do that. And if I up this tolerance a bit more, just because this is so dark, you can see it's definitely cutting into the shadows. I don't want that. So what I may end up doing is just getting whole new wireframes or whole new photos, so I don't have to deal with all this editing for the wireframes, because I don't want to have to cut into stuff as we go around that's just very dark. It may be fine for a picture, but it's not something that I just want to wand and be done with. Otherwise, this is going to take forever. And let's see another one. Yeah, I'm
all
looking
this
at that
editing for
contrast,
the
and it's not as
wireframe. You
good.
don't want to have to cut into stuff as you go
Same
around.
thing
That's just
there.
very dark.
All right,
Maybe
so
fine for
we
a
will get
picture,
rid of all these
but
guys
it's
then.
not
Just get rid of them
something
off
that
of
I just
our
want to wand and be done with.
template,
Otherwise, this is
and
gonna take
we'll
forever.
fire up Space Engineers, and we'll grab some
And let's see
pictures.
another one.
What
I'm
else
looking
did
at
I
that
need
contrast,
photos
and it's not
of?
as
Did I
good.
have?
Same thing
Which
there.
Miranda
All
was
right,
this
so
one?
we will get rid of all these
That's
guys
an
then.
older
Just get rid of
Miranda.
them off of our template.
And I made a newer
we'll
looking
fire
one,
up
so we
Space
can pull
Engineers and we'll
that
grab
one
some
out
pictures.
and take pictures
What
of
else
it
did I
too.
need photos of?
Let's
Did I
get
have?
Steam going.
Which Miranda was this one? That's an
Uh,
older Miranda.
behind here.
And
And
I
we
made a
will
newer looking one, so we can pull that one
play
out
some Space
and take
Engineers.
pictures of it too.
Let's go.
Let's get Steam going.
All right, now you're starting to load. So those pictures will not be good for us. What else? Those are Vipers. Is this Connie any good? They may have been good pictures in the past, but no longer. See, Space Engineers, why are you not capturing the game? Because you're looking at the wrong game. That's the one. What if we transition and back? You should be looking at Space Engineers now. So that's not correct. Are you looking at the game now? Game capture audio. Game capture.
And back.
That's Windows Space Engineers.
Space Engineers now. You not capturing the game because you're looking at.
We don't want you. We also.
So that's not correct. Are you looking
Because
at?
that's looking at the
now?
desktop.
Game capture audio.
Space Engineers is not showing
capture.
what I want.
Space Engineers.
Input overlays do not want. It's a mic.
We don't want
chat.
you.
Here we go.
We also.
Why are you?
Because that's looking at the desktop. Space Engineers is not
okay.
showing.
Space Engineers go. But you're not showing anything. Very weird. We're just gonna stick with the desktop right now. Because the game capture's not working.
Space Engineers go.
Very weird.
What I want. But
we will continue this game.
Very weird.
Weird.
We're just gonna stick with the desktop.
As I know that was working before, but I put it on Shipbreaker
Because
for
the
some
game
tests.
capture's not working.
I'm not sure why it's
Very
not doing what we need it to do.
We'll continue this game.
That's okay. Whatever.
Weird.
We'll work with it. Let's see what else we can work with here. If let me flip this over.
For some tests.
Let me
I'm not
close
sure why
that.
it's not
Let
doing what we
me
need it to
come
do.
over. Close.
That's okay. Whatever.
I'll just go
We'll
back
work with
here
it.
because I will
Let's see
need
what
whatever
else we can
screenshots
work
that I
with
take.
here. Let me flip this over. Let me close that.
All right.
Let me
So that was that Defiant that I had made and took screenshots of. We can get rid of you. We can also get rid of its wireframe up here. If you wanted just the wireframe or the conveyor network of a ship, rather, you can blueprint your ship and then build it from a projector. And then since we're in creative mode, you just whip out your welder and weld any blocks that are touching. And all I did was selectively choose to weld all of the conveyor system. So that is how I did that super quick. And now let's see.
And then build it from a projector.
How many Mirandas do I even have? Is it even in here?
And weld any blocks that are
nope.
touching. And all I did was selectively choose to weld all.
What all do I even have in here that
is how I did that?
I want? Ton of missiles.
And now let's see.
Some of those aren't even mine. Very good references.
Is it even in here? Nope.
Nope, 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 nope.
What?
No.
What all do I even have in here that I want? Ton of missiles.
You can always go find them again.
Some of those
I
aren't
was
even
trying to
mine.
organize some
Very
of my
good
stuff
references.
and ended up just making a mess out of a lot of it.
Nope,
Which one of
nope.
you was?
No.
And we'll just take you. I tried to remake this guy. You're upside down, aren't you? Yep.
Find them again. I was trying to organize some of my stuff.
And you are.
And ended up just making a mess out of a lot of it.
You're not a station. Convert to ship.
Which one of you was?
What are you now?
Just take you.
Can I drive?
Tried to remake
Am I in the wrong
this
cockpit?
guy. You're upside down, aren't you? Yep.
What's going on with you?
And you are.
Convert to ship.
You're not a station. Convert to ship.
Am I
Can
not
I
on the
drive?
screen for some
In the
reason?
wrong
What's
going on with you?
Why are you acting that way?
Convert to ship.
Come on now.
Am I?
I need pictures of you, and I need you to move so that you're in the light.
Why are you?
You're not responding to inputs, although the character is. I don't know what's going on there. You're the light version.
I need pictures of you, and I need you to move so that you're in the light.
You're old. You're the heavy armor one, which doesn't really matter. Yeah, it'll probably look a little meaner with the extra contrast and everything. That'll be interesting to see in the wireframe, but it doesn't matter if you don't move. Convert to ship.
You're the heavy armor one, which
Weird.
doesn't really
You're not
matter.
responding to anything.
It'll probably look a little
Hopefully
meaner with
it's not
the
just
extra
the
contrast and everything.
save.
That'll be interesting to see in the
That's
wireframe,
fine.
but it
This is
doesn't
the
matter if you
behemoth.
don't move.
We don't need a
Convert to
target
ship.
practice one. 7. Yeah, it's a target practice.
Weird.
I put extra
You're not
thrusters in
responding
it
to
just so it
anything.
could fly
Hopefully
around
it's
on a
not
one
just
gravity
the
planet.
Save.
Dump this guy in here.
That's fine. This is the.
Well, it looks like it's
behemoth.
listing, but let's see.
Need a target practice one.
You are upside
7,
down. That's
yeah,
why
it's
you
target
are
practice.
listing, because
I
you
put
don't
extra
have enough
thrusters in
thrust
it
to
so it could
stay
fly
upright.
around on a
You
one
had
gravity planet.
some side doors. There you are.
Dump this guy in here.
That we can come in here. These doors will close at some point in time.
Let's see.
And I want to come
You
up.
are upside down. That's why you are.
And
listing,
over
because
here.
you don't have enough thrust.
I think
to
the, was it artificial
stay
gravity
upright.
is keeping us upright right now.
So
let's do
There you are.
F8.
So we can come in here. These
We
doors will close
rotate
at some
ourselves,
point in time.
and then we can paste ourselves.
Up.
And of course, we're still
Over
upside
here.
down, even though I
think
fixed the camera.
Artificial gravity is keeping us upright
Okay,
right
we'll
now.
roll ourselves upright,
So let's do
and that way we can have some good lighting. And I'm using
rotate
Titan
ourselves.
for a good
and
color
we can
contrast, just
pace
because the
ourselves.
ship is gray, everything else is
And of course, we're
orange.
still upside down.
So that should give us a nice
fixed
high
the camera.
contrast when we take a picture.
It's okay. We'll roll ourselves upright.
We should be able to dip
and
down,
That way we can have some good lighting.
and we'll
I'm
take
using Titan
good
for
picture
a
like
good color
that.
contrast, just
So if we
because
go
the
7
ship
and
is
8,
gray,
7,
everything else is
F7 will get
orange.
us
So that should
our
give us a
camera
nice
closer
high
to where
contrast
we
when
are
take a
physically
picture.
located, and F8 will
should
allow
be
us to
able
control that
to
spectator camera.
Down.
I don't care about any of this other
Okay.
stuff. So this
Good
is
picture like
what I
that.
want. We'll take a
If we go
picture
7
here.
and 8,
F12.
7, F7 will get us our
Let's
camera
take-
closer to where we are physically located.
We'll go back here.
And
Let's
F8 will
turn
allow us to control that spectator camera. Don't care about any
This
of
way.
other stuff.
A little into
This
the
is
sun.
What I want. We'll take a picture
F8.
here. F12.
That way we don't have to sit so high and get the background.
We'll go back here. Let's turn.
The rest of that should be a decent... Yeah, because I don't want all of this
way. into the sun.
sky here in the background. I think it might be a pain in the butt to shop out,
Have to sit so high and get the background.
but I'm going to have to do what I can with it.
The rest of that should be
That
a
looks
decent.
decent.
Yeah, because I don't want all of this
There.
sky here in the background. I think it might be a pain in the butt to shop out.
That looks cool. And
gonna
this
have
looks
to
cool
do
too,
what
but I
I
don't
can
want
with
like
it.
just front on. That doesn't
That
look as
looks
cool.
Decent.
And I'm just thinking about what
There.
pictures I want for the little wireframes on there. We get like a side one, but I want some contrast, so let's turn
That
you
looks cool.
more level
And
and
this
into
looks
the
cool
sun
too, but I
for
don't
some
want, like,
lights.
Just front on. That doesn't look as cool. And I'm just
Turn
thinking
into the
about
light
what
there.
pictures I want for
Rotate
the
up. There we go.
the little wireframes on there. We get like a
So
side
that
one,
should
but I want
be
some contrast, so let's turn you more level.
a
and
good side
into the
there.
sun for some
I don't
lights.
like that as much. We can go back to the ship and keep rolling it.
Turn into the light there.
We can get a good underside,
There we go.
or at least put more
So that should be
underside to it. Back to
good
F8.
side there. I don't like that as much.
I think the
We can
underside's
go back into the ship
semi-interesting.
and keep rolling it.
As long as I get like
We can get
a good enough picture
underside,
of some of these things.
or at least put more underside to it. Back to F8.
We'll try.
I think the underside's semi-interesting. As long as I
We'll
get
try
like
that. 2, and I want
a good
one
enough picture
top
of
down.
some
I
of these
also
things.
like this thruster cluster here. Go F6 so we'll see if we can roll it over to the other
Try.
side so we can get more light on the top.
We'll try that. 2, and I want one top down. I also like
Back to F8. We fly
This-
around.
thruster cluster here.
This is
Go
the
F6
top.
so we can roll it over to the other
Just get another
side so we
picture
can get
there
more
because I
light
like
on
it.
the
We'll
top.
get one straight on there. That should be good. We want.
Back to
We got the
F8,
underside. We want
fly
that
around.
back. Now let's
This
turn
is
you
the
around
top.
so we can get a thruster
Just get
cluster.
another picture there because I like it.
And then I want to do the
There.
guts.
That should be good. We want
The guts of this guy as well.
The
F8
underside. We want
again.
that back. Now let's turn
Come
you
up.
around so we can get a thruster
And take a
cluster.
picture here as well. So
Then
the
I
main reason
want
for
to
doing all
do
of this
the
is so that we'll
guts.
have something to work with on the wireframes. I've
Guts
got
of this guy
that
as
big
well.
portion out of the way, and now I want the
F8 again.
primary conveyor system
Up.
coming through here. And for that, I'll have to get rid of
as well.
this itself so we
the
can
main
hop
reason
out
for
of the
doing
cockpit,
all of this is
get
so
rid
that
of
we'll
the
have something
behemoth,
to
and
work
since
with
I
the
have it on a
wireframes.
blueprint,
I've got
we
that
can
big
just
portion out of
rebuild
the
it
way,
as a
and now I want
blueprint.
the,
So if we just start
primary
off with a
conveyor system coming
pillar
through here.
of blocks coming
And
up,
for that, I'll have
and we
to
can
get
add
rid of
a
this
battery and a
itself so we
projector
can
to
hop
it.
out of the cockpit.
Come on now, what are you
Get
doing?
rid of the behemoth, and since I have it on a blueprint,
I'm gonna add
we
a
can
battery
just
and a projector to
rebuild
it,
as a blueprint. So if we just
and that
start
way we
off
can weld
with
up
a
specifically just those blocks
pillar
that we
of
need.
blocks coming
Let's come
up,
this way.
and we can add
Oop,
a
and
battery and a projector
let's take
to
a look
it.
over here.
Come on now, what are you doing? I'm gonna add a battery and a projector to it,
Projector.
and that way we can
We'll
weld
add
up
you up
specifically
here.
just those blocks that we need.
Projector
Let's go this
has
way.
the plus on the top, and then the
And
forward will actually be over there.
over
Let's
here.
make this look a little more correct with how our cockpit is oriented. And then we will go to our projector and add the blueprint
Projector.
for the behemoth.
We'll add you up here.
That's the one.
Projector has the plus on the top, and then the forward will actually be over there.
That's
Let's
going to
make
be
this
placed centered
more
on
correct with how
wherever
cockpit
the
is
blueprint
oriented.
actually is.
And
And
then
that's
we
why
will
it's
go to
way
projector
off, because
and add
that's the
blueprint
center
for the
of
behemoth.
where this grid actually is. You could change that by
That's
placing
the
a
one.
projector first so you know the correct orientation of it, and then pasting your big grid into it and it
It's gonna
will
be placed
assume
centered
the
on
orientation
wherever
of
the
that.
blueprint
So you
actually
can
is.
actually make the
And
projector
that's why
sit
it's
directly on
way
top of a
off,
projector in here
because
if you can
that's
get it
the
right.
center of where this
I'm going to
blueprint
keep
actually is.
this,
We can change
and
that
we are
by
going to
placing
do
a projector first, so you know the correct orientation
we'll
of it,
move the
and then
horizontal
pasting your
this way
figurine
just a
into it,
skosh,
and it will
and come
assume
up quite a
the
bit.
orientation of that.
And that
So you
should
can
be good
actually make
enough.
the
I
projector
want
sit
to
directly
keep
on
the
top of a
projection,
projector in here if you can
and I
get
don't
it
care
right.
about only seeing
I'm gonna
visible, but
keep
I do
this,
want to
and
make
we are
sure
gonna do
that
a
we can actually attach
move the
to the ship
horizontal
itself.
this
It looked
way
like it
just a
was
skosh,
super high up,
and come
and
up
it kind of
quite a bit.
is,
And
but
that
that'll
should
be
good
fine.
enough.
It can just
I
sit
want
up there.
to keep the
Off of this
projection,
projector, I will drag some
and
more
I don't
blocks
care about
up.
only seeing visible, but I do
Maybe
want
that
to make
is
sure
a little
that
too high.
we
I'll
can
just
actually
pull the
attach
projector
to
back
the
down
ship
a bit.
itself. It looked like it was super high up, and it kind of is.
Projector at
but
vertical
that'll be
offset
fine. You can just
and
sit up there.
sink a
Off
bit
of this
lower.
projector,
Got a
I will
bad
drag some
perspective
more
from
blocks
here. You
up.
can always move your camera around, but
Maybe
that can be a
is
pain in the
little
butt too.
high.
I just needed to get
pull
enough of
the
this
projector
in
back
so
down
that
a
you can
bit.
start building up and hitting some of that conveyor network, and that's precisely what we will do next. Looks like I need one more cube. There we go. And now I can actually start building things that touch this, like this conveyor. I'm only going to build the conveyors in here, and that's going to be a little tedious, but I will get all of that done. And that way we can have the conveyor network only for a wireframe.
I can actually start building.
That's going to take a hot minute here.
This conveyor. I'm only going to build the conveyors.
Let's see. Boop.
And that's going to be
And
tedious,
we'll just have to be painstakingly
get all of that done.
tagging all of these conveyor networks.
Conveyor network only.
The idea for this came from someone, I don't remember who, and I really wish I could give that proper credit, but I honestly don't know. But I saw someone have in their Steam Workshop, and they even made a guide on it, even going into like the GIMP steps on how to get the wireframes. So if I ever find that again, then kudos to you for inspiring this kind of work. I really like it myself,
They even made a guide on it,
and I hope others like it too.
the GIMP
I think
steps
it's kind of interesting, even if it's completely meaningless. I still like to do it.
Ever find that again,
Let's come over here and we'll pull the conveyor network.
inspiring
We'll pull off of you
this kind of
down
work. I really like
and
it myself.
over. Oops,
others
that's
like it
gonna.
too.
No, you
I
can
think it's kind
be
of
fine right there.
even if it's
I
completely
just want to
meaningless.
double
I
brace
still like to do it.
the actual conveyor network in
Let's
case
come
I
over
cut that
here
pillar
and we'll pull
for whatever
the
reason.
conveyor
But it looks
network.
like this
Pull
is
off
another
the
section that needs to
down
get welded down
and
anyways. And earlier I said oops because
That's
it looked
gonna-
like this
you can
big turret was going to
right
be
there. I just want to
blocked
double
by
brace
what I'm trying to build here.
the
And it very well may
actual
still
conveyor
be.
network in case I cut that pillar for whatever reason.
It
Looks like
shouldn't because that's 3
this
by 3 all
is
around, so I don't know
another
why
section
it's
that needs to get welded
being
down
difficult.
anyways. And earlier I said, oops,
Unless you
because it looked
really
like
just
this
don't like
part was going to be
these parts here, do you?
blocked by what I'm trying to build here. And it very well may
That's
still be.
built up.
It shouldn't because that's
That
3 by
shouldn't
3 all
matter,
around,
though.
So I don't know why it's
Because
being
you would be
difficult.
blocks down there. Do
Unless
you not like these
really just
guys?
don't like these parts here, do you?
You did not like those guys. Because you're extra block bigger than what I gave you credit for. Okay.
That shouldn't matter though.
That's
Because you would
fine.
be
We'll
blocks
come out
down
this
there.
way. And then
Do
build
you
up.
not like these guys?
And then we can have that secondary
You do
brace like
not
we
those
wanted.
guys.
I can come in here and
Because
just
you're
tidy up
extra
these
block
extra
bigger
blocks
than
that I
what I
did
gave you
not
credit
want
for.
while I was
Okay.
trying to get this turret in place.
That's
This is a really time-consuming portion
build up.
of getting these blueprints
Then we can
and
have that
getting
secondary
the
brace like we
pictures,
wanted.
is that you
Come in
actually
here
have to
and
weld
just
up
tidy up the
all of
extra
these
blocks that I
conveyors
did
to get
not
stuff
want
done.
While I was trying to
I
get
guess that
this
can go to an interesting
in place.
decision on how to build a
This
ship,
is a really
and
time-consuming
I
portion
don't know the best
of
way.
getting
I just kind of
the
slap
blueprints
stuff together.
and
I
getting
tend
the
to
pictures.
build towards
So you
higher
actually have to
performing
weld up
ships as in turret spam and a lot of thrusters, so they can all move way faster than what they probably should, given their size and what they're supposed to do. But even as far as their size goes, my ships aren't even the biggest. I do enjoy a good run around some of the massive ships on the workshop. They are absolutely beautiful, but they are very huge, very well detailed, and I don't have the patience for that all the time. Not to make them, not to give them the full credit of exploration that they deserve, because they are truly works of art, especially like some of the one-to-one creations of absolutely colossal ships, ones that will crush your PC because they're so big and so well detailed. And I guess that's a good measure of how good your computer is at running Space Engineers, and probably I don't know, an interesting way to determine if you're going to be able to run Space Engineers too. We don't really know a lot of stuff from what they've told us about how the PCU is calculated, or what one PCU actually is. If you have a smaller block, 50 centimeters, just like small grid block, or you have even more smaller detailed block, how is each of those calculated as one? And if I assemble enough to be another block of that greater size, is that still one PCU, or does it constitute more? So if I took small grid blocks and I made a large grid block out of small grid blocks, is that one PCU, or is it 255 PCU, or whatever that math turns out to be? I don't know. I kind of started making a list of things that I wanted to explore initially when Space Engineers 2 comes out. One, because it's in that alpha test, there's not a whole lot going to be there initially, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I bought it because I love Space Engineers, and I will support them in their endeavor to make Space Engineers 2, even if it'll sit in that alpha stage for a while like Space Engineers 1 did. As I didn't discover this game until, was it 2019 or something, and had absolutely no idea what I was doing with my friends when we first started playing. We were just kind of doing whatever we thought we should, which was not very productive or smart, at the very least. A lot of digging holes and just feeding refineries manually, not really building or engineering anything. And it wasn't until I started to faff around about, I guess it was on the moon, was one of my first starts. I don't know why, because the Earth-like is so much easier to work with. But I started on the moon and just tried to figure out everything from there, and kept going, making hydrogen ships that were inevitably exploding because I would gently tap something and then they would just fall apart. Power problems, non-stop power problems, always infuriating to deal with. And then eventually captured some of the passing ships, or put in some of the mods to get these other really big ships in. I can't remember which encounters it was at the time, but some of those massive ships, Open Tide and things like that, I would go and try to make something to fight those and capture them, only to be slain over and over because I had no idea how those ships were made and all the guns that they had in every little nook and cranny of them. But it was frustrating and fun at the same time, and I really wish I knew more about what I was doing. And it wasn't until much later that I would say, oh, hey, you know what? Someone's probably already done this. Let's go look into YouTube videos about this game and actually figure out how to play. And that's where I found a bunch of really cool creators who would share their tutorials and their gameplay, and that really is when my interest in the game took off, because it was so difficult to actually do anything on my own. And then after seeing them, it's like, oh, well, I don't have to sit here and dig and throw dirt into the either the survival kit or into a refinery forever. I can do other things to make resource collection even faster. And that's kind of been where I come from when I do my tutorials, is I don't want people to have to suffer in that early game. I want you to not have to dig at all. And that is why I will turn that survival pod into something that can mine, and then you can fly it around instead of having to hand drill stuff. And I try to make it a point to not hand drill at all if I can avoid it. And that's exactly what I try to do in my little tutorials. I think most of the drilling that I do, if any, is just removal with a hand drill to get a little free space around something or whatever might be going on. But I try not to actually have to hand carry anything into an inventory with mining, as far as mining goes, at least. Pull this, and I think I just double tapped everything on that way up, so we'll get rid of those blocks. I have that, and you up top. That's a good part about creative mode. I can just add or remove everything as I want. I don't have to replace all of these blocks. I can just build them up, just a matter of getting close enough. Then I can delete everything that I don't need. More conveyors on this side. And it's like more rail guns over here too. Yeah, that was my first experiences with that. And then I found some awesome creators, Black Armor, Major John. I absolutely love what they were building at the time. There's so many folks that I just kind of like found as I was running around, just kind of learning as much as I possibly could. Love their videos, even if they're not producing anymore. They're still inspirational folks. And then you've got the video creators that are still doing Space Engineers content, like Splitsy, who was also very good at the tutorial and just having fun in the game in general. Captain Shack, Andrew Man, a ton of folks who, those are, I guess, more the bigger household names for a lot of them. But there are a lot of other creators out there who are still playing this game, and they have their own little niche or their own little things that they do. I know I had seen some folks do like economy only survivals, and then you see somebody else pick it up and do their own little spin on it. And then you've got folks who are making mods for the game, their own little stories. I really enjoyed the campaigns that kind of came with the game, and then you get to watch other people play them and see them, how they engage in the problem solving for them. Player-made campaigns that I've watched folks do. The Escape from Mars is the first one that comes to mind of another excellent, another player-made campaign for the game. So kind of shows how the community really comes together to do all they can for it. And of course, the developers are just eating it up too. They're never saying like, "Hey, you can't do this or that with the game." It's probably one of the, I guess, most pure and most beneficial things to a game that you can see, to have their creators embrace the player base and just really like, hey, you guys do what you want with this, and then the player base just turn around and really running with the ball. To the point where the creators actually come back and say like, hey, you know, it's really cool, that paint tool that you guys made, we're going to implement that. Hey, you know, it's really cool, that build planner, that inventory system, we're going to implement that into the main game. and then everyone benefits from it. So that's really cool. And I'm not the biggest gamer around, and I really don't know anything about game development or anything like that. But I think that's probably one of the coolest things ever, to have someone do all the work, it really take off, and then you as the creator be so grateful as to implement that into the actual game itself, and then everyone benefiting from it. So I think that's pretty cool. And then in Space Engineers 2, we're actually starting with a lot of that as well. We see the paint tool already be implemented, and even today I was just browsing on Reddit, and somebody else had made like another similar paint tool, and I think I had seen some like mods that do this, or scripts rather, that do something similar. But you can select like, hey, this is all say hazard colored paint, and you can select all hazard color paint and then just change that universally. So a perfect example of that Reddit post would be like, this ship is primarily gray with some yellow bits. You could select the yellow bit, and you could paint all of the yellow a different color at once with a single pick and paste. Or you can just pick like, hey, just this section of contiguous yellow, change that to a different color. A couple different examples like that. I thought that was really cool. There were other things in there too. From today, the copy-paste function that was demonstrated in the Space Engineers 2 demos, where you can just select a chunk of something. Somebody made that for Space Engineers. So you can just bisect a chunk of a ship and paste it somewhere else, and that way you could diagnose or do even like deck by deck cuts of things. Because as it be done now, or as I do it, I would actually have to paste the ship and remove everything above whatever layer or below whatever layer I was trying to examine, and I would still end up losing the whole layer I was cutting at. So if you wanted just a portion of it, you may have to cut and paste a couple pieces together and add them in. It's probably not the best way to describe it, but like cut one a block above and cut one a block below in the same place, so that you can have the even pieces, and then you could add or subtract from the middle. So like if this, use this as a sample. So this gray piece is like 3 pieces big. So if I cut it in the middle, then I'd have something even there, and I could expand, or I could just paste them 2 together. And if I wanted this to be bigger, and I wanted a specific part of it, I could cut it here, and then say cut it down there, because I wanted whatever was in the middle, and then I could paste those 2 pieces together. Probably not the best way to explain the brute force way that we have to do it now, but the I guess precision cut and paste that we would have in Space Engineers 2, and what was demonstrated in that mod, would make you not have to do that anymore. So I think that's very cool, and I don't know which came first in there, the chicken or the egg. Was a player inspired to do that mod based upon the demo, or was it already in the works and then the demonstration came out for Space Engineers 2? Either way, I think that's really cool. Just like someone made for Space Engineers 1 a mod that gives us the ability to, I'm not going to say it's super gridding, because super gridding is like this large grid has like a center portion, and you can put small grid blocks in there. So you would have this whole block actually clip through something. That's the super gridding. What we'll have in the Space Engineers 2, as I understand it, is the unified grid system. So it'll just be, I can put small grid blocks right on top of these, and it'll be perfectly happy. And somebody made that in a mod for Space Engineers 1. They did caution that it would probably break the game because Space Engineers 1 doesn't like that kind of stuff.
Unified grid system.
But that's just the limitations of this game. And as Space Engineers 2 is still going to be in alpha for a while as they continue to release their, what did they call them? Their vertical cuts or whatever. As they're continuing to develop and release the game, it's going to be a while before 2 is ready. So hopefully we'll still get those kinds of quality of life in 1. And I would absolutely love to see pretty much just like, hey, 2 is, we're going to continue to develop 1. And then by the time we have everything that we want in 1, it just becomes 2 with a better physics engine, better graphics, all the updated blocks that we want in there in I guess, a unified style.
We're going to continue to develop 1.
I think that would be pretty cool.
By the time we have everything,
because I'd love to see that as well.
It just becomes 2.
I don't think I need any of that up there.
Physics engine.
I think I would like that quite a bit because I like this game and I want to see it continue to grow and develop, and that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I've made a bunch of videos, but those are always, I guess, more or less playing to myself.
I think I would like that.
And having things more controlled. So hopefully with this we'll do a bit of video testing and streaming for Space Engineers 2. And we'll see if I can even get like the streams going for hopping back on the public servers, because it's been a year or so since I've last built on those. I was making a series that was coinciding at the same time with what was it called?
Back on the public servers, because it's been
the Collector, Splitsies Collector series, out on was it German server 2 or whatever, DE2, and I was building there a giant Miranda ship. We can pull that up later. I recorded at that same time, and then I was done around Christmas with all the building and everything. I just never finished editing the videos because I had recorded way too much footage, and that's a a good learning experience too. If you're going to record something, then you kind of want to start editing it right away so it can be produced, or you can just I guess, to not be so gentle, be lazy and just stream right away and never have to worry about editing stuff. You kind of forget where you're at in the video and what you were trying to convey, and then you have to go back and watch hours of footage again and get an idea of what you were trying to do so that you can edit it back into a cohesive story or message or whatever was going on for it. As I don't remember where I'm at, and I have many hours of footage to go through. And that's not fun whatsoever. Kind of not in a hurry to get back to that project either. Just because it's waited this long, and I may just say, meh, whatever. Maybe it depends on if anyone actually cares about it. I'll probably get to it. I'm more or less making these things for me just because I think it's kind of fun to do these. So if people care and I care enough, I'll do it. Otherwise, I might just delete that's almost like 200 gigs of video file. It's that much video that I've got in there to edit and compile and compress and turn into something somewhat usable. It was a good learning experience for that, because I think that one I had cranked up the quality of the video substantially, which is good because the other ones I had were lower quality, and they're not the worst, but still trying to play around with OBS and various settings so that I know what a good output is. And that's I guess, a better discussion to have is what makes a good output for a video. And that's part of the learning curve that I've had to deal with is, what makes a good video overall. I guess the answer is start with the end in mind. What are you trying to do? And then go from there. You know what the end is supposed to look like. You can start to put those elements into place beforehand. And then from there, you can edit necessarily to get what you want. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. Because while you're recording your primary photography, if you completely miss something, you can't go back in this game. It's happened and it's done. Unless you have a lot of saves and you happen to be able to go back and do a thing a second time, it's still not the same as doing it the first time. So what's a good way to say it? Your experience in Space Engineers is ephemeral. Once it's happened, it's gone, and it may not ever play back that same way again. So do your best to think about what you want the end product to look like, and then have a camera in place to capture that image. So like all of this that I'm doing here is pretty monotonous, and seeing me fly around is pretty boring, which is why I'm just jaw-jacking at the moment. But if I were semi-intelligent, like here, we'll zoom out. Now, just imagine if I had another camera over here, and it were orbiting this ship. You could absolutely do that. Like, I could go and set up a time-lapse rig real fast and put my buddy's character on there and just record me building the guts of this ship. But I didn't think about that beforehand, and I'm not going to do it now. But that is precisely how I do my time-lapse videos for those builds that I've made. Is I made a rig so that the central focus would be on where that ship is going to be created, or where I imagine it's going to sit. And then I try to do my best to have everything happen in that camera area. And that took a lot of trial and error to get how I wanted. Like, how fast did the camera have to be? Where is it sitting? Where is that that central focus going to be? What's going on in the background even? Because I have lots of other stuff going on in the background too, just to keep things kind of interesting. So I really like seeing the sun move through the sky and the clouds move through the air as day passes into night. I think that's really cool. So that's why I try to have some of that scenery in the frame as I'm making that recording. And then I keep the standard day 2-hour day clock for that game too. So that when you see the sun go through, that's standard 2 hours in the game for the day-night cycle, and you'll just see hours and hours pass by in the span of like 5 minutes. That gives me a lot of perspective too on just how much time people put into this game and make these amazing ships. And like, this is one of the bigger ships that I've made here, and this thing took a hot minute to make too. I don't remember exactly how long. It was probably 10 hours on just the frame, the hull, and then I went back in and did some interior decorating later. But this is again quite the behemoth, as its name says. But I think this too itself was a learning experience, and I immediately applied everything that I had learned here into doing the same with the Miranda that I had done on the server, that German server. trying to make a much more detailed ship.
And I immediately applied
And that's probably
everything that I
why,
had
if
learned
anything,
here
I want to
into
go back
doing
and do
same
the
with
finish
the,
on
the
those
Miranda
videos.
that I had
Because
done
as I'm
on
doing this, I'll be like, hey, you know what
the
was really
server
cool? That thing that I
Turbo
did over
server,
there. Let
Turbo
me
server,
share that with everyone
trying
else.
to make a much
And
more detailed
that'd probably be
ship.
why I go back, because
That's
this right
probably
here
why, if
makes me
anything,
want to go back and finish
and do
the other
finish
project that
on
much
those
more.
videos. 'Cause as I'm
Pop
doing
these
this, I'll be
through
like, hey,
there.
you know what was really cool?
And
That
I
thing
can get
that I
rid
did
of
over there.
this
Let
whole
me
line.
share that with everyone else. And
Okay,
that'd probably be why I go
that's
back,
good there.
because this right here
That comes
makes
up,
me want
and there's no
to go back
more
and finish,
conveyors. There's, of course,
the other
there's.
project that much more.
Let's come back this way.
Pop these through there.
You can just see how
This whole
much
line.
stuff there is in this ship just to get it all going. Could you imagine trying to build something
That's good
this
there.
big on a public
That
server
comes
where you
up,
have to go and
and
gather
there's
all
no
your
more
resources,
conveyors.
and
There's,
you
of course,
can't
there's
mirror mode? You just can't freely place
back
blocks
this way.
and trying to get everything lined up and perfect.
You can just see how
It was a nightmare.
much
And that's
stuff
why
there
that
is
Miranda
just to
only
get
had
it
so
all
much
going.
done
Could
to
you
it.
imagine trying to build something
One, it's
this big
massive in
on a
PCU.
public
I
server where
cut
you have to go
back
and
the
gather all your
shape,
resources and you can't mirror
the
mode?
scale
You
of
just
it
can't freely place
significantly
blocks,
from
and trying to get everything
a
lined up and
previous
perfect.
test that I had done just to
It
get
was
like a good
nightmare.
estimation
And
of
that's
size
why
and
that
volume.
Miranda only had so
And
much
it
done
was
to
still absolutely colossal.
One,
I think it took all of my PCU just to get the frame, and then I had to start borrowing from my friends, Shanghai them, get them on the server, and just start shifting PCU around between all of us, just to get that thing done. And then, of course, with building the ship, there's always creative design, choice fights. So it's like, hey, I want this, hey, I want that, or I think it should have that. Then and you have a fight about it, about what is best. But sometimes that discussion is also good. And at that time, I hadn't captured all of everything, so some of the iterations to it were never recorded, or I lost them, or whatever. But I wish I had got all those. And that kind of goes back into the discussion of having a good capture plan for your information in place. If you have a good way to record everything all the time, if that is your goal, and you have good perspectives to actually capture those interesting views or commentary or whatever, then you can have something good come out of the end of it. But if at the end of the day you're missing some of that stuff, you can't recreate it, especially like the random, haphazard, silly stuff, which tends to be the most comical or enjoyable. You aren't recording, or you don't have a good perspective for it. You aren't just like, hey, let me look at this while something silly is going on. Then you'll not record it, and you'll end up missing out on that kind of stuff. So for a good recording, you should think about what the end state is, and then put up enough camera, recording devices, whatever, to be in place already to capture those events when they happen. And ideally, you make them happen on your schedule for things. Let's bring this way.
And then put up enough.
So that's why, like the time-lapse recording videos, that's why I do them the way that I do them, so that, again, that iteration, that practice of, hey, how long is this going to go through? And I found whatever very, very small rotation, and I think I've posted it on the couple of worlds that I did produce or release on the workshop. It's a very, very small rotation on the rotating arm for the time-lapse video, and from that rotating arm, I speed up the video times 50. And then that video is what you end up seeing with hours of time-lapse go through. And I ended up on what I did because as I watched it and I edited it, Shotcut will only let me do 50 times a speed in a single pass. So that is why
And
it
then that
is the speed
video
it is
is what you
times
end up
50,
seeing with hours of time lapse
and
go
that's going
through.
to fall.
And I ended up on
So where do you
what I
connect
did
to?
because as I watched it and I edited it,
That's an armored block.
Shipcut will only let me do
Is this even connected?
50
It is not.
times a speed
Look at that.
in a
Okay,
single pass.
perfect example of
So that is
paying attention
why
while you're building
it
things.
is the speed it
This
is times
connector
50.
goes into this block
And
here,
that's going to fall.
which looks like it's supposed to be an elbow, and then it goes down into nothing. So this armored
Is this even
block
connected?
is
It is not. Look at that.
not
Okay.
actually piped.
Perfect
This
example
connector's not
of,
piped
paying
correctly.
attention while you're building things.
I
connector goes
would never have
into
seen that, and that's why
block
this
here,
little bit fell off when I
which
broke it,
looks like it's supposed to be an elbow.
because
and then
this
it goes
armored
down
block
into nothing. So
is
this
supposed
armored
to
block
be a
is,
tube,
uh,
an elbow,
not
instead of
actually
being an
piped.
armored block.
This connector's not piped correctly.
That's interesting.
I
All of this
would
is
never have seen that, and that's
inside this
why
little
this
landing
bit
bay.
fell off when I broke it.
I guess I could have just like pulled
'Cause
this through
armored
a bit
block
more,
is
and then it goes to
supposed
that armored
be
block,
a tube,
which would
not
go
an elbow,
up
instead of
into
being
that
an armored
elbow and
block.
over and out. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I did not see
All
that when
this
I was doing the
is
original build,
inside
and
this
I probably
little
won't
landing
update it
bay.
either,
I guess I could have
because
just like
it's
pulled
annoying to
this
update
through a bit more.
blueprints. I guess I can
And it
just like
goes to that
change it
armored
and then
block,
repaste the blueprint,
would go
repost it over
up
the original.
into that elbow and over and out.
But I'm also a bad
I
engineer,
did
so
not see that when I was doing the
I
original
will
build,
probably not end
and I
up doing
probably
that.
won't update it.
But
either.
if you do see this and you
This
grab
is
this
annoying to
blueprint,
update.
know that that is a
Blueprints. I
problem,
guess I can just,
and
like,
now it
change
is
it and then
known, but it is
repaste the
not
blueprint,
corrected.
repost
So you
it
can
over
fix
the
it yourself
original.
if you ever care to build this
But I'm
behemoth.
also a bad
Let's come
engineer,
this
so
way.
I
It's a
will
tube.
probably not end up doing
Here's a
that.
tube line.
But if you do see this and you grab this blueprint,
Where is the
know that
connecting
that is
tube
a
line
problem,
come
and now
across?
it is known, but it is not corrected. So you can fix it yourself
Let's
if you
come.
ever care
So you don't
to,
have anything because this
build
is
this
that giant bay. So you should
This
come
way.
across here.
tube. Here's a tube line.
This is all bare tube
Where is the connecting
coming
tube
out this
line?
way, and then another
Across.
throster, and more.
Let's come. So you don't have
Conveyors.
anything because this is that giant bay. so
Nothing
you
back
should
that
come
way, it looks
across
like,
here.
but conveyors coming this way.
This is all bare tube.
There we go. Yeah, back to
This way.
video creation. So
And more.
yeah, I think with the end in mind, and that way you can
Nothing back
do
that way,
a
it
bit
looks like,
better
but conveyors
about
coming this
building
way.
stuff. And if you can't think that far ahead, then you'll find out in post. Hey man, I wish
Yeah,
this
back
were better,
to,
or oh, I could have captured
video
that.
creation.
And then you'll start
So,
trying to think those couple of steps
yeah,
ahead
think
in the
with end
future.
in
And it's like,
mind,
oh,
and that
well,
way you can
I
do
thought I
a
should
bit
have done this
better
before, and now I
about
remembered that
building stuff.
this potential
And if
cool
you
thing
can't think
could
that far
happen.
ahead,
So now I
then
will make
you'll
sure I
find out in
capture it
post, hey, man, I wish
when
this
it
were
does
better,
happen.
or, oh, I could have captured that.
And then
you'll
do capture it the
start
next
trying
time.
to think those couple of steps ahead
Can I
in
pop
the
that?
future.
There we go.
And it's like, oh,
And
well,
what
I
is
thought
all
I
of
should
this
have done this
nonsense?
before, and now I remembered that this
Yeah,
potential
and then you
cool
just
thing could
capture it the next
happen,
time, where
so now
you
I
learn
will make
from
sure
it,
I
and
capture it,
sometimes you can go
when it
back
does happen.
and do things again,
And then
but
do
a lot of
capture it
time
next
it's
time.
the quirky stuff, which is kind of ephemeral. If you don't capture it in the moment, then you'll never capture it.
Here's all of this nonsense.
You know, with all the latency and everything I was experiencing
yeah. And then
on
you just
that
capture it the
other
next time,
server,
you learn from it.
there were periods of
Sometimes you can
time
go
where
back
it just
and
did not care
do
about
things
my
again,
inputs whatsoever.
But a lot of times
And,
the quirky stuff, which is kind
Like,
of
I was
the
flying
thing
a
you
little
don't
scout
capture
ship
it in the
because
moment,
I
and you'll
tried to
never
find
capture it.
every single
You know, with
station
all
I
the
possibly
latency and
could.
everything I was
And I
experiencing
did all of that
on
for
that
the trade
other
stations
server,
because I wanted, I knew there was going to be a lot of people coming into the server, and not everyone plays on public servers. So I used the bit of knowledge I did have about public servers so that I could share that information so that everyone could go to the trade stations and do various things to get money, and then spend that money on the zone chips so that they could support the collector series. That seemed like there was well more than enough help there. So my paltry donations were inevitably useless, but tried to do my little bit to pitch in as much as I could. and
support
that
the
way
collector series.
everyone ends up
That seemed like there was
everyone ends up
still more
benefiting
than
from it
enough, help
uh,
there. So
until that server
my
gets reset,
paltry
if it gets reset
donations were
anytime soon. Actually, I think
inevitably
the public servers
useless,
may have
but,
already been
tried to
reset,
do my little bit to pitch
which
in
really
as much
sucks
as I could.
because when the
And
servers get
that
reset,
way,
all
everyone
those
ends
trade
up benefiting
session
from
or
it.
all those trade
Everyone ends up
stations rather
benefiting from it,
end
uh,
up moving or despawning.
until that server gets reset. If it gets reset,
It's usually they end up
anytime soon.
getting
Actually, I
moved
think
somewhere
the
else. It's like
public
you're starting a
servers
whole
may
new
have
world.
already been
The trade
reset,
station locations and factions
which really sucks
are
because
procedurally
when the servers
generated,
get
just
reset,
like the
all those trade
asteroids. They
session
won't
or
be
all those
exactly
trade
the same.
stations, rather,
The planets,
uh,
however,
end up moving
will
or
be in
despawning.
that same place that they were
It's
before.
usually they end up
Ditto with
getting
all
moved
of the
somewhere else.
ores
It's like
on
you're
them,
starting a whole new world.
which
The
can be
trade
good
station
because if
locations
you
and
were so
factions
inclined, you could
are
GPS
procedurally
mark
generated,
a
just
bunch
like
of
the
ores
asteroids.
in
They won't be
your
exactly the
starter
same.
world,
The
and
planets,
then
however,
go
will
into
be
like a
in
public
that
server, and
same
it's like, okay,
place,
hey, I know where
that they
all
were
the ores
before.
are on this
Ditto
planet,
with all of
where
the
I'm
ores
started,
on
based
them,
on a GPS that you
which can
already
be good
have
because
copy-pasted.
if you were so inclined,
So you could do that
could
if you cared to.
GPS mark a bunch of ores
But
in
that's
your
something
starter
that
world, and then
I don't care
go
to do
into
myself.
public
It's not
server, and
very
it's like,
hard
okay,
to
hey, I
find
know where
ores anywhere.
all the
If
ores
you know what
are
to look
on this
for, you're
planet,
just looking
where I
for
started based on a
the
GPS that you already have copy pasted.
the different
So you
variations
could
in
do
color
that if you
marking
cared to.
on the ground.
But
So it's not
that's something
difficult to
that,
find. You just have to know
don't
what you're
care
looking
to do
for.
myself.
And in
It's
space,
just
it's a
not
bit of
very
a pain
hard
in the
to
butt
find
just
ores
because you have to
anywhere.
go
You
find
know
all
what
the
to look
things in the
for. You're just
asteroids,
looking
and
for
since those are
the,
procedurally generated, good luck trying to find anything
different
that is
variations in color
anywhere near
marking
the same as
on
anywhere else.
ground. So it's not
Let's go
difficult to
get some
find.
water real
You
fast
just have
because
to
I
know
am
what
parched.
you're looking for. And in space, it's a bit of a pain in the butt just because you have to go find all the things in the asteroids, and since those are procedurally generated, good luck trying to find anything that is anywhere near the same as anywhere
These are
else.
going
Let's go
back
get some
here.
water real
Where
fast 'cause I
is...
am parched.
I don't know how you're connected, so I'll connect you here. Just probably haven't got that connected yet. You're not
These are
tubes.
going
Tank.
here. Where
Big thruster.
is- I don't know how you're connected, so I'll connect you
Right.
here. Just probably haven't got that.
Conveyors. Conveyors under a shower, which I don't need the shower. It's not a functional block I'm looking for.
Tank.
That one is. That one is.
Big thruster.
That's a thruster. These thrusters are all touching each other. They can form this line, and they come on this side, and they can get their conveyors.
Shower. It's not the functional block I'm looking for. That one is.
All these conveyors. As long as I get most of the things, I think we'll be in a
Thruster.
decent place.
These thrusters are all touching each other.
That's a conveyor.
And form this line. And they come on this side. and
You'll
they
see
come on
most of the
conveyors.
blocks I've got in here. The conveyor blocks are just
These
the
conveyors.
regular conveyor
As long as I get
junctions.
most of the things,
One,
I
that's
think we'll
just
be
how I
in a
build
decent
because it's
place.
easier to make sure everything is piped up correctly, assuming that I do the test, because clearly I did not test
You'll see
the
most of the
conveyor,
blocks
not conveyor,
I've got
the
in here.
connector
conveyor blocks
out
are
here.
just the,
If this one's messed up, that
regular
means this
conveyor
other one is
junctions.
also messed up.
One, that's
Did
just how
I
build
see it when
because
I
it's
built
easier
it?
to make sure everything is piped up
Where
correctly.
you at? You're right here.
Assuming that I
Did I
do
see
the
it when I
test,
built
because
it?
Clearly, I did not
Looks like
test
conveyor.
the conveyor, not conveyor,
No.
connector.
I
out
do
here.
remember a bit of
If this one's messed
asymmetry
up, that means
in this
other
area,
one is
and it looks like
also
this
messed
one
up.
is good, but the other one is
Did
not.
I
So
see
if
it
I
when
did
built
test it, potentially I only tested the
Right here,
one
right here.
and not both.
Did I see it when I built it?
That's looking
site
good. This
conveyor.
needs cargo container in the middle
I do remember
and
a bit of asymmetry
conveyors.
in this area, and
Where
it looks
are
like
you
this one
going
is
here?
good, but the other one is not. So if I did
Uh,
test
getting
it,
there.
potentially I only
Looks like
tested
I could.
the one and not
Here's a
both.
conveyor junction.
That's looking good. This needs
Okay.
cargo container in the
Where was I?
middle and conveyors.
Shipbuilding. I don't know what I'm doing, and that's why this is a hot mess. It sure could be easily optimized and fortified in various places, but after I built it, I made a time-lapse video to record it, and then I think I did the video edit for it, and then moved on to something else.
Shipbuilding.
Just because I kind of lost interest in it. I may have used it, well, I obviously did use it for a bunch of target practice. I did build this to be just kind of like a little boss fight and testing some of the other ships that I was making. Just because I've been really hung up on this little escort ship that I keep trying to make, the little hammerhead. It just doesn't turn out how I want, or I can make it faster or more nimble with more gyroscope. I could put more guns on it, anything to try to optimize it, and then I make it do something ridiculous like fight this while this is under the control of an AI. And then the turrets alone, there's just an absolute ton of turrets, and just shred up anything if you stop moving even for a second. So for ship design, you can study things, how well they're put together when they are being blown apart. So you mess up a little bit on some of the ships, then this thing in particular will just tear you apart. And you can kind of study that either through videos or through dying enough times to figure out how to improve whatever you're testing. And if you were recording, going back to video editing, all of that, then you'll have some really interesting footage of stuff getting blown up. And which one was it? It was the Adamantine frigate or whatever it was called that I had made, the Battlestar Galactica Deadlock little ship wannabe thing, because it was nowhere near that in its original purpose, but kind of had the look for it. That little thing, I made it fight some other battle cruisers I had made, and in that footage, that was like 3 or 4 fights in that fight scene that I edited together to make it look like one. And that's just because, hey, this happened that was really cool over here, or that happened that was really cool over there. Because I couldn't record every angle of everything, you lost some of what was going on in the action. So if you had another spectator camera looking at something, then you could pick back up on what was going on and kind of lend context to the fight and what's actually going on in there. Who was it? The Space Stock guys, Fujiwana, I think, was the video, did a really good breakdown on what makes a good ship fight. And it's more or less like a lot of other things in storytelling is that it's a narrative. You're telling a story when you've got ships fighting. There's got to be a reason behind it so that you get invested in things. It's not, I mean, it can just be like cool explosions and look pretty and feel goods, but the fight has more meaning when there's like stakes on the line, when there's the build up to something. And they were doing a great breakdown of the Battlestar Galactica fight, where Galactica jumps in to save everyone from New Caprica and was fighting like 4 base stars on its own. And it looked like everything was over for the Galactica. It was just getting absolutely pummeled when all of a sudden, the Pegasus comes in. And it was a really cool fight, just how you kind of weren't... If you know the story, then yes, it was kind of expected for Pegasus to show up, just because of all the tension and everything that was on the line. The show is called Battlestar Galactica, not Battlestar Pegasus, or just Battlestar, or Colonial Escape to find New Earth or whatever. The show was Battlestar Galactica, and this is the RDM version. This is the buildup of everything that's been going on with that ship, so it has to survive. You have some of the main characters there, so again, they kind of have plot armor. It's like, hey, something has to happen to change the tide of battle, and that's what happens when the Pegasus comes flying in and wrecks house, but ultimately gets destroyed in that fight. But because you know the stakes, you know what's on the line, you know the capabilities, the characters, the ships themselves become characters, and they have their own quirks, because you see that the Battlestar Galactica getting beaten up and taken down, rebuilt over and over again. Continues to lose its armor as it's well past its expiration date. It was being turned into a museum when it was the presumed at the time to be the sole surviving colonial ship. But it itself is a character, and it's got its own quirks, and those continue to develop along the way with it. The failing hull, the jump drive FTL that breaks down, the ship itself breaks its own keel so it can't jump anymore when they finally find their way to Earth. So that in itself makes it kind of a character and part of the stakes that are on the line. Plus, most of them are living on it at the time. It becomes refugee habitat. Just because everyone is moving over there, they keep losing capability of some of the other colonial ships because they can't repair anything. But that's the character that goes in there. And you know what's going on with the ships and the stakes at hand, and that's what adds to the story for things. And in that little video that I made, there was no stakes at the hand. So it's like, yeah, it's cool, you get to see some things, but not as cool as it could have been were there like story and stakes on it. Some of the other videos, and I wish I could rename or remember all the things. You've got folks who do the Space Engineers, like massive PvP campaigns. They're all on the same server. You only play for a certain amount of time, so you have same access to everything. So you can make a story that develops at the same time with everything else. And giving that equal access to things, it kind of makes the time advancement the same, kind of like what Splitsy's done on some of the other servers that he's run. Like, you're only allotted an hour a week or whatever, so you can't play any more than somebody else, even if you had the time to. And that way, everyone's progression is kind of locked to, I guess, the same time frame. Those other servers talking about months-long, drawn-out battles between various fleets and having to repair things and build stuff. And then you have a lot of manipulation between players, so it's like, hey, do I want to, move my resources here or there to commit to a fight or to not, whatever it may be. Those kind of stories put more on the line, and those are really cool to listen to as well. So I definitely like those, even though I haven't got to participate in anything like that yet. But those are kind of things that will give you a narrative capture on what's going on. We're just looking for those are really cool to listen to. Even thrust everywhere, because if I were missing something, it'd be a little more obvious to see. This backwards thrust, I'm obviously missing something over here, because these guys are not connected to something. I see you connected this way, and that'll probably do it right there. Nothing up there, and then, yeah, now you guys are lit. And that's just kind of janky chain. So this is going back to ship design again, and character and story. So I just have these pieces willy-nilly. These ones right here are no longer these conveyor blocks. They are the reinforced ones, because this little chain is the only thing pushing hydrogen through to these thrusters. Unfortunately, this one is taking is taking the hydrogen from a couple different locations. Actually, it could have been an elbow. It probably wasn't originally, but that one piece right there stopped anything from flowing into this thruster and then to the one next to it. That is a critical weakness in the ship design, but if you want to make your ships better, that is a good way to see it. See any of your critical flaws in your ship design. We can go back over here real fast. Another easy way to see what we want to see So now I have all this stuff on the grid. Over to the projectors, and we can see our build progress. I don't care about heat vents, armors. I don't care about camera, Willis ducts, antennas, panels. None of this stuff really matters. All I really care about is the conveyors and the thrusters.
So now I have all this stuff on the grid.
As I scroll down through here,
and we can see our build
aquariums, bathrooms. No, I don't care about pipeworks either. That's an interior block.
Antennas, panels. None of this stuff really matters. All I really care about
an assembler somewhere. It's probably in the engine area. I'll go find those. There's a pair of them.
Aquariums, bathrooms. No, I don't care about pipeworks either. That's an interior block.
Showers, beds.
An assembler somewhere.
Passages, I don't care.
Engine area.
I don't care about the cargo crates either. So that's pretty decent. So if I come over here, where would you be? I don't even know where my... Here we go. Yep, and it's this. This right here. Bam. And
I don't care about the cargo crates either.
Did you have a buddy on this side? Yes, you did. Bam. Okay. So that's the main guts of what I wanted. I don't even know where my... I want G projector.
Yep, and it's this.
Projector can go here, can go on off. And I'll turn it off.
A buddy on this side? Yes, you did.
And that looks pretty cool.
So
This is what the guts of that ship looks like.
What I wanted.
And in order to get a good picture of it, I'll do a quick fly through and make sure I don't have any hanging blocks like these guys here. I don't want you or you, because you're all going to be obstructing the camera view.
This is what the
and are ultimately not supposed to be a part of it. There's another hanging block. These two guys, it's because the welder tapped them. I don't think there was a lot of, I guess you could call it overspray here. That one's a critical piece, and you won't see it in the picture. Here is a block that's missing. I will just put that there. And I don't need this one. This is all connected up enough. I'll leave. I'll leave it. This is probably another side piece over here. What was up there? I don't recall. Part of the med bay and cryo facilities. Mostly I'm looking for some unbuilt blocks. Or anything that doesn't look mirrored, or something that's not supposed to be here like that.
What was up there? I don't recall.
Just a quick glance. And what always irks me is I'll see something in a picture later, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I completely missed that. Like, oh, here's a good example. Like, there's going to be another cannon right here, but I completely missed that. Let's go and turn that projector back on. Boop. Jump out. So there's a cannon on this side too.
See something in a picture later, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I completely missed
so
that.
These guys and this cannon is here. Where is this line?
Let's go and
that goes in. This line comes up, and big turret here, and then down here.
There's a cannon on this side
and here. So that gets those in place.
Where is this line?
Turrets there, paired off.
Big turret here.
You missing one? Nope.
And down here.
And we'll go back to the top side.
And here.
Those look good. So this is just turret spam all over the place. Not necessarily the best design to have turret spam, but I made this ship to be punishing and to be heavily armed, because that's kind of what it does. It's the behemoth battle cruiser from StarCraft, or at least best I could do with it.
This is just turret spam.
I'm gonna come back this way. I don't know what you're supposed to be. You're just an armored block, so I don't know what you guys are doing piping out this way. Here. Oh, and there was another shop. Yeah.
Kind of what it does.
That can stay there then.
Or at least best I could do.
There's nothing else up there.
Come back this way.
I'll leave the shops even though they're not important.
You're just an armored block.
I don't care about these armored blocks going through there.
piping out this way here. Oh,
Let's
another
take
top
another look. Three
that
turrets,
can
3 turrets.
Stay there then. 'Cause there's nothing else up there.
That looks pretty good.
I'll leave the shops even though they're not.
And again, it's not like you're going to see most of this anyways.
Armor blocks going through there.
Let's do, I will put back there, I'll put a cockpit. Just so I can fly this thing, which means I'm also going to need some gyroscopes somewhere. Where are my gyroscopes?
Good.
Otherwise, I won't be able to rotate this whatsoever.
Again, it's not like you're going to see most of this anyways.
And
Let's
I need to be
do-
able to pick
will
ones
put
that are hidden.
Back there.
I mean, I
put
could
a cockpit.
see all the
So I can
gyroscopes,
fly this
but
thing,
if I
which means
placed
I'm also
any
gonna need some
on the
gyroscopes
conveyor tubes, which would have been
somewhere where
smart,
gyroscopes.
which I didn't.
Otherwise,
That
I
way
won't be
the
able to
conveyor
rotate
network
this
is
whatsoever.
protected,
And
but
I need to be able to
it does not
that
look
are
like I did that.
hidden.
Looks like I just had an
And I
internal
could
skirt
see all the
of
gyroscopes, but if I placed
gyroscopes
any
on the outermost wall of anything, so they're not
conveyor
protecting
tubes,
anything.
which would have been
Literally,
smart,
this block
which I
could
didn't.
get
That way
removed
the
because it's
conveyor
weak,
network
and you've
is
got a gyroscope on the other side that's
protected.
just floating around and would absolutely wreak
But,
havoc on the inside.
It does not look like I did
That is
Looks like
a
I just
hefty
had an
wall of
internal
gyroscopes.
skirt Of
And you'll see
gyroscopes.
something else on the
on the
other
outermost wall of
side,
anything, so
exactly
they're
the
not
same.
protecting anything. Literally,
So I
this block
will
could
cut
get
this
removed
off
because it's weak, and you've got a gyroscope on the other side that's just
because there
floating
are no
around and would
gyroscopes. At
absolutely
least I don't
wreak
think there
havoc
are.
on the inside.
Gyroscopes equals 0.
That is a hefty wall of gyroscopes.
And there is a lot of
You'll see something
turrets,
else on the
huge
other
mass.
side, exactly the same.
So
So
we
I
need to, I can
will cut
hide
this off.
cockpit back
There are
here,
no
but I won't be able
gyroscopes,
to
just like
rotate
there
it,
are Gyroscopes equals
it
0.
being the ship, without
And there is
at
a
least
lot
one
of
gyroscope
turrets,
somewhere.
huge
And
mass.
then I will have a
So
lot of difficulty trying to get a picture of it.
hide
I have ample amount of
cockpit back
thrust in
here,
all
but I won't
directions,
be
so I
able
can
to
even,
rotate it,
I want to cut
it being the
this
ship
down.
without at least one gyroscope
Oops.
somewhere.
Bam.
Then I will
And
have a lot
this
of
can come down
difficulty
this
trying to
way.
get a picture of it.
I no
have
longer
ample
need
amount of
this. So
thrust
now
in all
that's a separate
directions, so I
grid.
can
It is
even
flying on its own, but without a single gyroscope.
cut this
It's
down.
pretty weak. So let's add some gyroscopes.
Bam. And this can come down this way.
I'll put gyroscopes over here because that'll probably be something I have to
So
add
now
again
that's a
later.
separate grid. It is flying on its own, but without a single gyroscope.
Actually, there was no
It's
connector there.
pretty weak.
Okay.
So let's
Let's
add
hide. Let's hide some gyroscopes in there. Let's make this easier on myself. You're the center.
That'll probably be something I have to add again later.
M to mirror around a bit. There we go. And now I don't have to place a ton of gyroscopes. I can just place
Okay.
a few,
Let's hide.
and they'll be mirrored. Let's see if that's enough.
Hide some gyroscopes
I
in
can
there.
get
Let's make
rid
this
of
easier on
all of that
myself.
pillar,
Go
or I
to
can just
center.
move to somewhere else.
M to mirror
take
around
this.
a bit.
So this is the
Yep.
framework
Now I don't have
of
to
that
place a
behemoth.
ton of gyroscopes I can just place.
It's like I
And
I
they'll
hit
be
something
mirrored.
down there. That's fine.
Let's see if that's enough.
Let's
Uh,
move
get
out of the
rid
way.
all of that
And
pillar
I
just
don't
move
want that
somewhere else.
contrast. My sun's over there.
Let's take this.
That's
So
not a
this
lot
is
of
the framework
gyroscope,
of that behemoth.
but I'll work with what I got.
It's like I hit something down
Oof,
there. That's
I do not
fine.
like that picture.
Move out of the way.
What if we came
And
up?
I don't want that contrast. My sun's over
I
there.
just want that
not
shadow
a lot of
away, and I don't
gyroscope.
want it to be casting a lot of shadow on
Work with
itself,
what I got.
so that I have
Oof,
a lot of
I do not
contrast, and I can get the details out of the
like
pictures.
we came up.
Because the GIMP program, when I use that
Just
edge
want
detect,
that
it's going to be
shadow
trying to pick up all these
away.
little
I don't
highlights and
want it
details, and that's what makes
casting a lot
the
of
image
shadow
look
on
cool.
itself,
That's what I'm
so
trying to go
that I
for.
have
So it's just a matter
a
of
lot
getting a good
contrast, and I can get the
picture
details
here.
out of the pictures.
Getting a good
Because the
sun
GIMP program, when I use that edge detect,
angle,
it's
and
gonna
then
be
I
trying to
can,
pick up all these
if
little
I get this
highlights and
right, I can
details, and
ignore
that's what
that
makes
dark
the
area
image look
because it's
cool.
a great enough contrast.
That's what I'm trying to go for.
I won't have to worry about
It's
it.
just a matter of getting a good
7 and 8 again,
picture
get
here.
to the spectator camera,
sun
rotate around this way.
Angle.
That
and
looks
then
kind of nasty.
If I get this right, I can ignore that dark area because it's a great enough contrast. I won't have to worry
We'll
about
give it a shot.
7 and 8 again. Get to.
And then can I get a
spectator
cool angle
camera,
over this
rotate
way?
around this way. That looks kind of
Again, you have
nasty.
that horrific shadow over there.
We'll give it a shot.
Capture that. And now let's go.
Can I get a cool angle over this way?
What's going on there, game?
Again, you have that horrific shadow over there.
Are you going to let me move? Did you die on me?
Capture that. And now let's go.
Come on now. Nope.
What's going on there, game?
Well, it looks like you're clearly working,
Move?
but you're
You
frozen.
Die on me.
And you won't let me
Come
escape.
on now.
Probably means there's something terrible going on with that world. So let's save again and exit. I really, really,
It looks
really
like
want that wireframe.
Clearly working.
Because I also want to make a copy of it and steal
You're
the
frozen.
engine components off the back there. So
And you won't
let's
let me
hop
escape.
back into the game.
Probably means there's something terrible going
And
on with that
let's take a
world.
look
So
at these
let's,
screenshots while I'm
save
waiting here.
again and exit.
That looks good.
Really,
Good.
really want that wireframe.
Good enough.
Because I also want to make a copy
That
of it.
was
steal
well,
the
and then it
engine
froze.
components
So
off the back there.
screenshots
So
look
let's
okay there. I just
hop back
need
into
to
the
be able
game.
to do stuff in that world.
And let's take a look.
I
at the
really don't want to
screenshots
have to
while
rebuild
I'm
that
waiting
wireframe
here.
again.
That
Just to
looks
add another
good,
picture
good,
to a blueprint thing that's going to last.
good enough.
There we go.
That was well, and then it froze. So
So this I will
screenshots
actually
look
turn
okay there. I just need to be able to do stuff.
turn you
in
into a
that world.
station.
I
I'll
really
hop
don't
out.
wanna have to rebuild that
I'm going to
wireframe
copy
again.
and paste
Just
you
to add
over
another
there,
picture
and you'll
to
be a
blueprint
station.
thing that's going to last.
And then
There we go.
I just want.
So this I will actually turn.
What's a good way to
turn
break
you
this
into a
off?
station.
We can get rid
Hop out.
of
I'm gonna copy
this.
and paste you over there, and you'll be a station.
I don't need that. I
And
don't need
then
this. Or these, or
just
that,
want-
or these. I don't need that. That can go away
break
too.
this off.
I'll just place blocks
rid
in
of
there,
This.
just so that we've got it. Let's put conveyors in there,
I don't need that. I don't need this
just so that we can
or
keep
these
it
or
piped.
that.
I will cut you off here.
Don't
Actually,
need that.
remove
That can
all
go
of
away
that too.
I'll
Just so I
place
can have
blocks in
this
there,
thruster cluster here at the
just so that
back.
we've got it. Let's put conveyors
I'll
in
leave
there,
that as a,
just so that we can keep it piped.
I guess a good picture
We'll
of stuff.
cut you off
This is
here,
the engineering space.
remove all of
It's
that
not
too.
super cool.
just so I can have this
But
thruster cluster here
that's-
at the back.
I'm not even going to bother taking a picture
I'll
of
leave
it.
that as
None
a,
of this is very cool. This is just dead zone going through the middle of the ship all the
picture
way
of
up
stuff.
here to all these
this
rail
is the
guns,
engineering
which would
space.
constitute the
It's
Yamato
not
cannon.
Super cool.
And I'm trying to think about what this would look like as a
But
wireframe,
That's. I'm not even gonna bother.
just
taking
by
a picture of
itself.
it. None of this is.
And I
very
don't think that'll
cool.
be
This
very
is just,
interesting. I
dead
mean,
zone
hell,
going
this
through the middle of the
cluster of
ship
guns
all
at the
the way
front
up
is
here
more
to all these
interesting
rail
visually
guns,
than
which would
what that
constitute
is
the
over
Yamato
there.
cannon. And I'm trying to think about
Since
what
I've
this would
done
look like
this,
as a
I've been
wireframe,
trying to put emphasis on the engineering spaces
just by
and
itself.
primary propulsion areas,
And I don't think that'll
because
be
these
very
are like two of the
interesting.
bigger
I mean,
image
hell, this cluster of
things.
guns at the
I
front
guess
is more
better
interesting
looking
visually
things
than,
in a ship.
what that is
At least I
over
think
there.
so. So I've been trying to
Uh,
do a bit better at
since I've done
developing
this,
those
I've been
spaces.
trying to put emphasis on the engineering
Let's
spaces.
get a good
and,
picture of
primary
you.
propulsion
Let's get one
areas.
without all the
Because
shadows.
These are like two of the bigger image.
Can I get a good
things,
image
I
here?
guess better looking things in
Maybe.
a ship.
I want
At
one,
least
like I
think
said,
so.
without
I've been trying to
shadows.
do a bit better at developing
That
those spaces.
should be okay here.
Let's get a good picture of you. Let's get one without all the shadows. Can I get a good
And
image here? Maybe I want one, like I said, but
maybe even like this. This is probably
that
a good picture for it too.
should be okay here.
And that should be good pictures for now. So let's be done with Space Engineers. And then we can go over
Maybe
to
even like this.
editing.
This is probably a good picture for it too. And that should be good pictures for now. So let's be done with Space Engineers.
Exits. Space Engineers, back to my
then we can
editing
go
and
over
transition
to,
over. So now we're back on the
editing.
capture. Okay, we'll go over to our Photoshop. I won't care about the blue, but it's a good contrast for everything.
Exits.
And then we'll start throwing in our
Space
pictures. So we'll take
Engineers,
all of
back to
these
my
guys.
editing
It's
and
a lot of
transition
pictures.
Over. So now we're back on
Maybe
the
not all of
capture.
them at once. Let's take,
Okay, we'll
take
go
these
over
4.
to
Whoa, 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 whoa. Damn it.
our Photoshop. I won't
There we
care
go.
about the blue, but it's a good contrast.
These guys
for
and drag you in
everything.
there. Boop, boop,
And
boop,
then
boop.
we'll start
Just
throwing
because
in
they're
our
going to
pictures. So
get
take
all
all
over
of
the place.
these
This is my
guys.
first
It's a
one.
lot
I'll
of
throw you
pictures.
in there. It's a much better picture.
Maybe
Should
not
be
all of
easier
them.
to crop out. Go
Let's
away.
take-
You.
Take these.
I already have
Whoa,
you
whoa,
in
whoa,
there.
whoa. Damn it. There we go.
Close something else
These
then.
guys and drag
You.
boop, 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 boop.
Nope. Do not
Just
want
because
that
they're going to get all over the place. This is my first
selected.
one.
We'll go
throw you in
here.
there.
You're
It's
on
a
the
much better
top.
Picture should
Come
be
on now.
easier to crop out. Go away.
And you can go in there.
You already have you in there.
And that's all the ones I had. Nope, I had 2 tops and
You
2 side
do
ones.
not want that
So you guys will come
selected. We'll go here. You're on the
down
top.
here to the behemoth
now.
layer. So I've got
You
that
go in
one.
there.
Those are
And
identical,
that's all
so
the
we'll get
ones
rid
I
of
had.
you.
I had 2 tops
and
2
there we go.
side
So I've got
ones.
these ones.
So you guys
We'll get rid of that one
come
behind. And this is why I went through all of that effort just so I could click once.
So I've got that one.
Click once.
Those
I'm not
are
on the right layer.
identical,
Click
so we'll
once.
Get rid of
And then eliminate a whole
And-
bunch of stuff. So we'll up this
There we go.
to
So I've got these
40 tolerance. And I should get rid of like almost all that orange.
And
See
this
how
is why
close I
went
cut
through
in there?
all
I
of
can
that
eliminate
effort
all
just
this
so
other
I
stuff
could
pretty
click
fast, but I don't have
once.
to deal with all this shadow nonsense.
Click once.
All of
Not
that,
on the
that's a
right layer.
really clean
Click
pick.
once.
And I can just do another
and
one to get
then
rid of the
eliminate
shadow
a whole
area.
bunch of stuff. So, we'll up
So that's a
this
clean pick.
to
What if I up my
40
tolerance to
And I should
60?
get rid of like almost all that orange. See how close
There we
I
go.
cut in there? I can
That
eliminate
cuts into
all
here
this
too
other
much.
stuff
I don't want
pretty
60.
Fast, but I don't have to deal with
I'll
all
pull
the
it back
shadow
to 50.
nonsense. All of that. That's a
That
really
looks
clean
pretty
pick.
decent
And I
cutting
can
through
just do another
here.
one to get rid of the shadow area.
You can nick
So
that
that's a
shadow.
clean
This is
pick. What if I
actually
up
part
my
of the ship.
tolerance
That's
to
fine.
60?
That looks good through here. I can still see the
There we go.
turrets.
That cuts into here too
And
much.
that
I
looks to
don't
be
want
a
60.
clean cut. So I will
I'll
get rid
pull
of
it back
that.
to 50.
Boom. And then this is gone. And then
looks pretty
that
decent
and
cutting through
that.
here.
This looks good. These are actually
Nick that
part of the ship.
shadow. This is
And that'll
actually
be
part of
fine.
the ship. That's
Then I can
fine.
pull out my eraser
That looks
tool
good through here.
and
Still see the
get rid of
turrets.
the selection.
And
Then I
that
can
looks to
eraser
be a
tool
clean
all
cut,
the
so
rest
I
of
will
this
get rid
stuff.
of that.
And this is
Boom.
actually
And then
when
this
a
is
good
gone.
kink layer
And
comes
then
in.
That and
This
that.
absolutely
This looks good. These
blinding
are actually part of
pink.
the ship, and that'll be fine.
We'll
Then I
turn
can
blue
pull out my
off. We'll
eraser
turn
tool
this pink on.
and
That gives me a
get rid of
super high
the
contrast to
then I
see
can
all of
eraser
this
tool
dirt
all the rest of this
and stuff that's back
And
here.
this is actually when
And
a
I can
good
just get rid of
kink layer
that.
comes in.
I don't need to get
This
rid of it all to
absolutely
be nice and pretty. I just need to get rid of
blinding
enough
pink.
around the ship
Turn blue off.
so I
turn
can
this pink
lasso
on.
the ship
That gives
itself
me a
out.
super high contrast
And
to
I see
see
another problem
all
that
of
I did
this
here.
dirt
Yeah,
stuff
that.
that's back here.
So let's
And then I can
lasso
get
that
rid of that.
and delete it.
I don't need to get
We
rid
can
of it
mark
all
key
to
off
be nice and pretty.
and
I just
erase.
need to get rid
I
of
didn't have
enough
all of the ship in the frame,
around
so
the
when I
ship
was doing that little bit edit,
so I
it
can lasso
did not
the
select
ship
it all.
itself out.
These guns are
And
not
I see
attached.
another
How
problem that
much
I
do
did
I
here.
care?
Yeah, that.
That was easy enough to
So
pick,
let's
so
lasso
let's
and delete it.
go
We can turn
back.
it off and erase. I didn't have all of the ship in the
I mean, it's
frame,
not going to
so
be the
when I
worst.
was
It's such
doing
a
the little edit,
minute detail
it, did
in
not select
everything
all.
that's in here.
These
And it looks
guns
like I
are
ran
not
out of
attached.
history.
How much do I care? That was easy enough to pick,
So
so let's
what I can do is
Go
just
back.
delete this layer altogether and then throw
I mean,
that
it's not
top
going to be
piece
the
in
worst. It's
again.
such a minute
I did
detail
not want it 4 times.
in everything that's in here. And
Just
it looks
once
like
is
I ran
good.
out of history.
Throw you in and just be careful about what I pick up.
So
That was a
delete this layer altogether.
magic wand,
and then
60.
throw that top
Okay, I
piece
can
in
kind of see
again.
how it cut through there now.
I did
I'd
not
say
want it 4
50
times.
off of that pick. This is
Just once is good.
all of the front
And
about off of
just
this
be
color.
careful
See,
about
that's a
what you
much
pick up.
better, and because it's
That
picking off
was
of whatever I
a
selected. So that looks good, and then I can
one,
also pick again
60.
here.
Okay, I can
pick
kind of see how it cut
just
through
the right
now.
color, or I
I'd
adjust
say
that
50
tolerance.
off of that
That
pick.
gun's still
This
floating.
is
I'm gonna say
all
I
of the
don't care.
front
Same thing
about
here.
off
I
of
don't
this color.
care. You're
That's a
gone.
much
You're gone.
better.
You're
yeah,
gone.
'cause it's
And
picking
ultimately,
off
I
of
just ended
whatever
up
I selected.
redoing all of
So
that work
looks
for
good.
nothing.
And then I can also pick again here.
Marquee off and
I pick
erase
just
enough
the right
around
color,
here
or
so
I
I
adjust
can
that
get
tolerance.
that
That gun's still
space back
floating.
around
I'm gonna say I don't
the
care.
ship
Same thing here, I don't
and
care.
can zoom in
You're
here
gone,
quite a bit.
You're gone. You're gone. And ultimately, I just ended up redoing.
And I
all of
can
that
clean
work for
up
nothing.
some of
Off
this.
and erase enough around here.
A little
so I
closer
can
to
get
these guns.
that space
Alt
back
around.
the ship, and can zoom in.
Zoom
here
in
quite
to
a
get
bit.
a bit closer. Ultimately, if there are little dots all over the
And I
place
can clean up
on the blueprint, it's not going to matter
some
too
of
much. The blueprint looks kind of clean too,
a little closer
and
to
I
these
got some coffee
guns.
stains so that I could
Around.
add it to the blueprint because I thought that would be interesting too.
Zoom in to get a bit closer. Ultimately,
So
if there are
we can
little
add
dots
those
all over
later.
the place on the
Oops.
blueprint, it's not going to matter too much.
All right,
The
so
blueprint looks
let's
kind of
zoom
clean
out.
too, and I got some coffee
That's good
stains
enough for me,
so that
and I can take my
add it to the
lasso and
blueprint,
just get the ship.
'cause
I don't
thought
care
that
about
would
the
be
rest of
interesting
that
too.
because that's all the same picture, but I don't want it.
So we can add
Cut
those
and
later.
paste, and that's the background stuff.
So let's
You're
zoom
gone.
out.
Goodbye.
That's
And
good
then
enough
this
for
will
me,
be
and I can take my lasso and just get the
behemoth
ship.
top.
I don't care about the rest of that because that's all the same picture, but I don't want it. Cut and paste, and that's the background
So
stuff.
where's all
gone.
this coming from?
Goodbye. And
Oh,
then
I
this
didn't
will be
throw it away. I just put it at the bottom. Go away.
behemoth
Now I have
top.
that clean canvas, and I undid enough to where I don't have pink layer. So I want to pink layer again. I also do not want to see
So where
my
is
lines.
all this
Where
coming from?
is my grids? Go away, grids.
Oh, I
They don't want to see
throw it away, I
you
just put it at the bottom.
when I take the
Go away.
picture
Now I have the
to
clean
turn it into the
canvas,
wireframe,
and
because then I'm
I
going
undid
to
enough to where I
highlight
don't
those
have,
wireframe lines.
pink layer.
We'll do the same thing again
but I
here.
want to pink layer
I
again.
can get everything in
Also do
frame.
not want to see
We want to magic wand,
lines. Where is my grids?
and we want
Away
to actually
grids.
be on that
They don't
layer.
want to
Magic
see
wand
you
again,
when I take the
and
picture
we can cut.
to turn it into the
So this
wireframe,
kind of
then I'm
goes
gonna
back to one of the
highlight
other
those wireframe
earlier
lines.
tangents I was
We'll do
on
the same thing
with
again
the
here.
having
can
the
get
end state in mind.
everything in
I
frame.
know how this
We
is going
want
to
magic
cut out
wand,
roughly using my magic
and we
wand
want
and
to
changing the
actually be on
tolerance,
that
so
layer.
I can
Magic
get
wand
most
again,
of this. Let's see
and
if I drop this down to
cut.
40,
So this kind of goes back to one of the
and I can
other
still click in
earlier
here
tangents
because I don't
was
want to
on
lose
with
ship.
the,
That
having
looks
the end
good,
state in
and
mind.
I'll
I
delete that.
know how this is
This
going
I'll be a little more
to cut
careful
out
with. I
roughly
can get rid of that
using
bright
my
orange
magic wand
there.
and changing the tolerance, so I
All
can
of
get most
that,
of this.
that can
Let's
go
see
away.
if I drop this down to
And then I'm just
40,
left with dealing with this shadow. It's
and I
too
can
dark
still
here
click in
under the
here,
ship
'cause I don't
and
wanna
here.
lose
So if
ship.
I drop this tolerance
That looks good.
down a
and
fair
I'll
bit,
delete that.
select this again,
This I'll be a
now
little
I'm
more
only
careful
getting
with.
that
I can
shadow
get rid of the
area,
bright
which
orange
is much
there.
nicer to look at.
All of
Take my marquee
that,
off, and then I can
that
go,
can go away.
and erase some of this
Then I'm
here
just left
too.
with dealing with this shadow. It's too dark
We'll
here under
erase
the
all
ship
of that.
and here. So if I drop this tolerance down,
Give
a fair
myself
bit,
some
select
ability
this
to
again,
lasso around.
now I'm only getting that
And then
shadow
we need
area,
this hard shadow
which
gone.
is much nicer to look at. Take my marquee off, and then I can go.
That's looking
erase some of this
good
here too.
enough. Again, I don't need to
Erase
be
all of
super
that.
detailed. It all depends on how much effort you want to put into these
Give myself
things.
some
Sometimes
ability
I
to
spend
lasso
way
around.
too much time doing
Then
one dumb
this
thing.
hard shadow.
That Defiant one I did, it probably took 8 hours to
That's
do it.
looking
And I'm like, cool, I've learned enough
Yeah,
in
I
that
don't think
8
it's
hours to
super
know
detailed.
that I
It all
don't need to
depends
be
on
that
how much
detailed
effort you
when
wanna put
I do it
into
again
these things. Sometimes
and
I
again
spend
and
way
again.
too much time
And
doing one dumb
I don't
thing
know how long I'm going to
that
make
if when I
the little
did,
blueprint scroll.
it probably took
Uh,
3 hours to do it.
Probably need to
And
do,
I'm like,
should
cool,
do
I've
one for every
learned
ship.
enough
But I
in
can
that
at least
8 hours
start
to know
doing a
that
couple of
I
them
don't
and
need to
then
be that
hem them
detailed
together
when I do it
into a
again.
reel. Because
Again,
the little one I had at
and
the
again.
start of the stream
And
was more or
I
less
don't know
a
how long I'm gonna
placeholder
make the
of
little
that
blueprint
really, really
scroll.
fast rotation building of that
Probably
E2
need to
Hawkeye.
should do one for every ship.
And that
But I can at
that's
least
kind of
start
nauseating
doing a
to look
couple of
at.
them and then
And I
hem
don't
them
want to look
together
at it.
into a reel.
So,
Because the little one I had
or
at
at
the
least
start
not
of
at
the
that
stream
speed.
was more or less a placeholder
These
of
guys,
that really, really fast rotation.
you are
building of
massive.
that
So what
E2
if
Hawkeye.
we
And that's kind of
shrink you
nauseating
down?
to look at. And I don't want to look at it.
Didn't want that moved.
So
Let's go. There we go.
or at least not at that speed.
Back in the center. I can't even see it.
These guys.
It's bound to be in the center there. Oh, it's over
you
there
are
for some
massive.
reason.
So what if we
Alt Z Z Z. How about I just cancel?
shrink you down?
Control T again. Transform. We'll move you. That way, this little
That moved.
thing's in the center.
Let's go. There
We'll move you. That's
we go.
a
In the
fair
center, I
size.
can't even see it.
And your
It's
top.
bound to be in the center there. Oh, it's over there for some reason. Alt Z Z Z. How
I
about
can
just
shrink
cancel?
you because you'll be a good chunk
Control T
there.
again. Transform. We'll move.
And I just
you.
want
That way
these
this little
guys like out of the way.
things in the center.
And I want enough of
Ooh,
them so
that's
that when
a
I throw them
fair
into the
size.
GIMP, I don't have to do this a
And
dozen times
top.
or one for each. That was the top. That was that ISO. Why did I take pictures? This is a copy.
Because you'll be a good
You
chunk
can go
there.
away. Copy.
And I just want
Copy.
these guys like out of the way.
Who else says a copy?
And I want enough of them so that when I throw them into the GIMP, I don't have to
You
do
can
this
go
a dozen
up.
times or one for each.
That's the
That
bottom.
was the top. That was that ISO.
That's
Why did I
another
take
bottom.
Pictures. This is a
That's.
copy. You can
Do I
go
want
away.
this top?
Copy.
I'll take that top. It actually looks cooler.
Who else
There.
says a copy?
Your engine.
You can
Engine.
go up.
You and I
That's the
think you look
bottom.
better. So that's a lot
That's
on my
another
plate,
bottom.
and we'll move you up.
Do I
Take
want
this,
top?
throw it in there,
I'll take
and
that
you're
top.
gone.
It actually looks cooler.
You
There.
throw it in there.
Your engine.
You're gone. You throw it in there.
engine,
You're gone. You
and I think you look better.
throw it in there.
So that's a lot
You're
on my
gone.
plate, and we'll move.
This is why it
up,
took like 10 hours to
this.
do that
throw it
one
in there,
picture, which would probably only sit on a screen
You
for.
throw it in
Would I
there,
have it set for 20
gone,
seconds?
you
I'm like, oh, I can rotate
throw it in
these like
there,
every 10 seconds. I'm like, oh, if this is going to fill 2 minutes, I got to do it a
throw it
lot.
in there.
And then you don't really get to enjoy it as much because I kind of
This is
had
why
the
it took,
idea
like, 10
of
hours to do that
uh,
one picture,
like when
which
you're
would
in the
probably
load
only
screens
sit
for
on a screen
Morrowind
for,
or any of
would I have it set
the
for
Elder
20
Scrolls
seconds?
games,
I'm like,
you
oh, I can
kind of get like a
rotate
little bit of
these, like,
lore
every
out
10
of
seconds. I'm like, oh, if
that
this is gonna
that
fill
wait
2
time
minutes,
as
I
you
gotta
get to
do it a
see
lot.
more in
And
depth
then you don't really get to
of a
enjoy
model,
it as
like a
much,
model
'cause I
showcase,
kinda had
as it
the
were.
idea of
Mm.
like when you're in the load screens for more
That was kind of my idea
any of
behind
the Elder
doing that
Scrolls
blueprint
games,
scroll.
you kind of get like a little bit of lore
We'll come down
out
here. Wand.
of
We don't
that
want a
wait time,
10%.
'cause you get
Let's
to
go back up to
see
40.
more in depth.
And I think
a
that would look
model,
pretty cool.
like a model showcase, as it
We'll
were.
get rid of all of that.
Mm.
That's a good catch.
That was kind of my idea behind
And we'll
doing that
wand all of
blueprint
this
scroll.
away so I can get an easy lasso.
down here. Wand,
And
we don't want
then
10%,
back to
so
our
back up
previous
40.
segue, getting good
And I think
image,
that
like
would look pretty
knowing
cool.
what that background contrast is going to
Get rid
do,
of all of
knowing
that.
what our
That's a good
magic
catch.
wand tool is going to do because it's going to select all of
Wand all
a
of
similar
this
kind
away
of
so I can get
pixel
an easy lasso.
color that is available on the
And
canvas
then,
from what we're selecting.
back to
So
our
having
previous
this high
segue,
contrast
getting
orange
good image,
is
like
really
knowing
nice.
what that background contrast is going to do.
If you want, you could use a green screen. That would be perfect as well, as long as your ships aren't green or they don't have green in them. You don't have to worry about that.
Pixel color that is available on the canvas from what we're
The
selecting.
green screen
So
is
having
also
this high
easy to work
contrast
with, or
orange
easier to work with.
is
I
really
don't
nice.
like it. I've used it before, the green screens,
If you want,
and
you could use a
I
green
didn't
screen.
like
That would be
them
perfect as well,
because
as
they
long as your
have
ships
this
aren't
nasty
green or they
green
don't have
hue
green in them.
everywhere.
You don't have to worry about that.
And you can't do anything about this. That
The
nasty
screen
green
is
hue.
also
So
easy to work with, or
any
easier to
highlights
work with.
would
Don't
be
like it. I've
tainted
used
by
it
the color
before,
of
the
what's
green
around
screens,
it. So if you had a
and
blue screen
I
or a
didn't
green
like
screen
them
background,
because they
and you
have this
didn't
nasty
have
green
proper
hue
lighting to flush this
everywhere.
out, you would see
And
green hints
you
everywhere.
can't do anything
And if
about
you look
this.
really
That
closely
nasty
at
green
some
hue. So
images,
any
you'll be able to see that
highlights
all over the place.
would be
And
tainted
it,
by the color of
knowing
what's
the
around
secret
it.
behind the
If you
magic
had a blue screen
kind
or a
of
green
ruins
screen
the fun
background,
because it's like,
and
oh,
you
look at this
didn't
really
have
cool
proper
picture of a
lighting to
spaceship, and I
flush
love
this
it.
out,
Because I'm
you
kind
would
of like
see green
Benny
hints everywhere. And
from
if you look
the
really
Lego
closely
movie.
at
I'm like,
some
oh, spaceship,
images,
and I love it.
you'll be able to see
I
that
actually
all
did
over
that
the
a whole
place.
bunch when
And
was doing
knowing
the
secret behind the magic,
whatchamacallit,
kind
the
of
the
ruins
collector
the
series.
fun because it's
Because I
like,
would
oh,
find
look at
somebody
this
else's
really cool
spaceship, and I
picture of
would
a
like
spaceship, and I love it.
just kind of like, oh man, this is so cool. It's not a brick, and it looks super interesting. I
The
hadn't
Lego
gotten
movie.
to,
I'm like,
I
oh,
had not
spaceship,
gotten
and I love
to
it.
any of the editing
I
for that
actually
kind of
did
stuff
that a
yet.
whole bunch when
But
was
I
doing
did it just
the
to entertain myself because I
the
really
collector
like
series.
the
'Cause
different
I would find
designs and
somebody else's
spaceships and
spaceship,
stuff.
and I would like
Even if you
just
found
kind of like,
something
oh
on the
man, this is so
workshop
cool.
and
It's not
you
a brick,
built
and
it,
it looks super
uh,
interesting.
and some
I
people
hadn't
did
get
that, like, oh,
to,
there
I
was a
had not
really
gotten
super
to
cool
any of
diner,
the
or they
editing for that
built
kind of stuff yet.
whatever shuttlecraft.
But
It
I
doesn't
did it
matter
just
because
to entertain
sometimes I've
myself
never
because
seen those,
I really
or
like
it's
the
something that
different
somebody
designs
else
and
likes,
spaceships and stuff.
and then they got to share it with
Even if
everyone.
you found
I
something on
think
the
that's
workshop
kind
and
of
you built it,
uh,
and
that's
some
one of the
people
more
did
amazing
that, like, oh,
things
there was a
of the
really
game.
super cool diner,
And
or
that
they
kind
built
of feeds
whatever
back into the
shuttlecraft.
earlier
It
conversation
doesn't matter
too about
because sometimes
why
I've
I
never
like this
seen
game,
those,
because
or it's
the
something that
creators,
somebody else
uh,
likes, and
they're
then they
they're
got to
all
share
about
it with
that
everyone.
open
I
shareable
think that's
experience.
kind of
Everything on the Steam
uh,
Workshop is free.
that's
You're free to
one of the
use
more
all
amazing
of the
things of
assets of the game,
and that
the
kind of
music, everything that
feeds
goes
back
into
the earlier
making
conversation too
everything
about
in the game.
why I like
You
this
are
game
free to
because
use that
the
with
creators
not having to worry about
they're
copyrights or
all
anything
about
else.
that open
So
shareable experience.
as
Everything on the Steam
a
Workshop is
game, they're
free.
really
You're free to
encouraging you
use
to just
all
go
of
nuts
the
and
assets of the
enjoy
game,
the crap out of it,
the
which
music,
is
everything that goes
fantastic. And that's
into
absolutely what
making everything
I
in
see
the
people in
game.
the community doing.
You are free
And
to
it's
use
a
that
really cool thing to
with
see
not
everyone
having to worry about
doing what they do.
copyrights
And
or
that's
anything
why
else.
you have so many cool
So
modders
as
uh,
a
making like
game,
actual
they're really
features of
encouraging
the
you
game,
to just go
which end
nuts
up
and
enhancing the game
enjoy
for
the crap
everyone
out of it,
overall, just because
which
they have
is
that open base
fantastic.
for
And
it.
that's absolutely what
And then to see the
I see
developers
people in the
actually
community doing.
implement those things,
And
show
it's
how
a
much
really
they
cool
care, and
thing
it's
to
not just
see
a
everyone
cash grab.
doing
It's
what they
actually
do. And
a
that's why
passion
you have
project for
so many
them
cool
while
modders
they're using it to develop
making
other
like
things.
actual features of
So
the
I
game,
think
which end
that's
up
pretty neat,
enhancing
and
the
that's
game
why I
for
like this
everyone
game so
overall, just
much.
because they have that open base for it. And then to see the
Under
developers actually implement those things, show how much they care, and it's not just a
get rid of
cash grab. It's
this.
actually a
No, I do
passion
not want
project
layer
for them
styles to it.
while they're
Go away.
using it to develop other things.
You go away, and
I think
do I want
that's pretty neat. That's
this?
why I like this game so much.
That I already have
Under
you versus you.
get rid of this.
I'll keep what I've got.
I do not want layer styles.
I don't
to
want
it.
this.
Go away. You go
Do I care for
away,
this?
and do I want
Maybe.
this.
The backside, I
That.
do want.
I already have
I definitely want that one. And
you
I want
versus
this
you.
and that.
I'll keep what I've got.
So let's do this one
Don't
first
want
because I'm
this.
here. One pick will go
Do I care for
up
this?
to 40
Maybe.
and get rid of this stuff.
The backside.
That's a good
I do want.
capture of everything, so we
Definitely
can
want that
delete
one.
that.
And
And
want
I don't
this.
have to worry about that cockpit. I mean, it's
that.
just going to have to be there.
So let's do
I could have
this
just
one
converted
first
this to
right
a grid.
here.
See, here's the
One
little
pick will
nitpicky
go
things.
up to
Having a
40.
cockpit here, when it's clearly not
Get rid
part
of
of
stuff.
this design,
That's a
kind
good
of ruins
capture
the element of what I was
everything,
trying to
so we
do.
can delete
And then also poor sun
and
placement.
I
So
don't
you can
have to
see my
worry about that
engineers
cockpit.
clearly
It's just
visible
gonna have to
here.
be there. I could have
Those
just
little
converted this to a
things,
grid. See,
if I
here's
were
the
being
little
like
nitpicky
super
things.
anal about
Having a cockpit
what I
here,
was
when it's
looking at,
clearly not
I
part of
absolutely
this
see them.
design,
And it's like,
kind of
you
ruins
cannot
the
unsee it
element
now.
of what I was trying to do.
But
And then
I'm
also
not
poor
going to
sun
worry
placement,
about
so
it
you
too
can see my
much.
engineers
There
clearly
you go.
visible
A bit
here.
of hypocrisy.
Those little things.
You know what
If
to
I
look
were
for,
being like
and you know
super
better
anal about
but you
what I was looking at.
hurry through
I
everything,
absolutely see them,
and
and
it
it's like,
affects the end
you
product.
cannot really
So
see it
you
now.
take that time to set up
But
everything right, having
I'm
proper
not
lighting,
gonna
a
worry
green
about it too
screen or a
much.
background that you
There
can
you go.
chroma
So
key
a
out,
bit of
or
hypocrisy.
wand pickup
You know what to look
to get rid of
for,
things.
and you know better,
Uh, knowing
but
how you're
you
going to do the
hurry
editing
through everything,
helps you
and
in
it
setting
affects
up
the
the
end
picture
product. So
for
you
what
take
you're going to
that
take.
time to set up
And
everything
then
right,
that's
having
going to
proper
make you
lighting,
have a
green
better
screen or a
quality
background that you can
end piece
chroma
when
key
you
out,
do
or
your editing
wand
or
pickup
conversions or whatever it
to
is
get
that you're
rid
going
of
to do
things.
with it.
Uh,
So if you
knowing how
know
you're gonna
what you
do
want
the
the end to
editing
look like, then
helps
you can
you
do better.
in setting up
And
the
of course, I
picture
never knew
for
all
what
of
you're
this
gonna
before I
take.
did anything.
And then
Yeah, so
that's going to
I
make
highly
you
encourage
have a
others to
better
just
quality
pick it up
end
and
piece
dive
when
in.
you do
Don't
your
know what you're
editing
doing?
or
Watch a video,
conversions or
figure
whatever
it
it is
out,
that you're gonna
do
with
it.
it.
Don't be afraid
So if
to
you
actually
know
make
what you want
things.
the end to look like, then you
Let's
can
do
do better. And of course, I never knew all of this
Behemoth
before I did
engine.
anything. Yeah, so I
This goes
highly
in here.
encourage others to
I've
just
made tons of
pick it
mistakes,
up,
and
dive in.
that's
Don't know
how
what
you
you're
learn
doing?
by
Watch a
making
video,
those mistakes
figure it out,
and
do
doing
it.
it
Don't
over
be
and over and
afraid
over
to
again.
actually make
And if
things.
here's a great way to get rid of mistakes for things.
Behemoth engine.
Edit yourself. There are so many things I
I've made
hate
tons of
about the way I
mistakes, and,
speak.
that's
So many
how you
ums and
learn by
ands and
making those
uhs and
mistakes
stuff like that that I
and
have
doing it
had to
over and
edit
over and
out
over
of
again.
videos. It
And
got to
if
the point where
here's
I'm
a
like,
great way to get rid of
do
mistakes for
I
things.
really care to edit these things out? Especially when you
There
listen to
are
yourself ramble
so
on
many
for hours
things
and
I
hours and
hate
hours and
about
hours,
the way I
and you
speak.
have all of
So
those
many
little
ums
thought
and ands
pauses
and
in there.
uhs and
It
stuff
gets
like
so
that that I
distracting
have
and
had to
annoying
edit out
to
of
listen to
videos.
yourself, and they're like,
It
well,
got to the
don't
point
want this in
where
the final thing.
I'm
I gotta cut it and cut this and cut that and this and that, and
to edit these things
by
out,
the end you're
especially
like
when you listen to yourself ramble for
mashing
hours
together
and
bits
hours
of a
and hours,
sentence just
and you
because you have all
of
those little
those
thought
little
words in
thought
there,
pauses in there.
or
It
thought
gets so
pauses rather,
distracting and annoying
and
to
it
listen
gets
to
super
yourself,
annoying
and
to
they're like,
listen to
"Oh,
yourself
don't
do
want
that
this in the
and
final
edit.
thing. I gotta cut it
Eventually
and
you
cut
learn
this and
to
cut
speak a
that
little
and
more
this and that," and
coherently and with a
by the
thought.
end you're like,
And I
you
think
mix
that's
or
a huge
mashing together
transition
bits
that
of a
I
sentence
found
just because you
even in
have all those
myself for
little
the
thought
bit of
words in
editing that
there,
I was doing in
or
between.
thought pauses rather.
The Luna
And
start that
it
I
gets
did
super annoying to listen to
was pretty
yourself do
gross.
that and edit.
Much better in
Eventually you
the
learn
Escape
to
from
speak a
Europa,
little more
and
coherently and
then
with a
better
thought.
still
And I
in
think
what I was
that's a
doing
huge
on
transition
the
that I found
uh,
even in myself for the bit
which
of
one was
editing
that?
that I was doing in
You can call it the
between
collector.
the Luna start that I did
Let's see, there you go. There's
was
ums
pretty
and uhs.
gross.
The
Much
collector
better
series.
in the Escape from Europa, and then better still in what I was doing.
Let's do this.
on
We're gonna
the,
get rid of that.
uh,
Pull out the pin tool.
Which one was that?
I'm not getting a good
called
pick
the
through
collector.
here that fits most of the background
Let's see,
and
there
not
you go.
what I
There's
want.
ums and uhs.
Here is
The
another
collector
technique
series.
that you can do to get closer to things. I could pick all this. This is good. Here I'm going
Let's
to
do this.
start
and then
here,
Get rid of that.
and
the pin tool.
I'm just going to get close enough. I'm not even going to make a
getting
nice
good
curve
pick through here
for this
that
because it's
fits
not
most of the
itself very
background and
perfect.
Not what I want. Here is
And
another
I will
technique
just clip
that you can do
these
to get
things. One of
closer
the
to
interesting
things. I
things
could
about
pick
these
all
Space
this. This is
Engineers
good.
blocks is
Here
you
I'm going
do
to
this
insert
enough,
here,
you look at all the
and
little
I'm just gonna get
angles
close
and
enough. I'm
everything,
not
and
even gonna make a
it's
nice
really
curve
interesting to
for
learn
this, 'cause it's
perspective of
not
these things.
itself very perfect.
As you can see, the blocks
And I will just
distort as they go
these
further
things.
along.
One of the
And in the
interesting
game,
things
you
about
don't
these
pay
Space
attention
Engineers
to it
blocks
too
is
much,
you do
just because it's not
this
your
enough,
primary
you
focus.
look at
But
all
if
the
you have to
little
do this kind
angles
of
and
thing a
everything,
whole
and
bunch,
it's really
you can
interesting to
see how
learn
this isn't a
perspective of these
perfect
things.
curve. I can see a point here and
You
a
can see
point
the
here and a
blocks
point here as we
distort
come
as they
down,
go further
just
along.
because the
And in the game, you don't
shape
pay
is
attention to
tapering
it
off
too
to
much,
a distant
just 'cause
vanishing
it's
point.
not your
Let's
primary
come back up this
focus.
side here.
But if you have to do
I want the
this kind
opacity of
thing
this
a whole
pink that I'm
bunch,
making
you can
turned
see
down
how
just so
this
I can
isn't a
see
perfect
what's
curve.
behind it.
I can see a point here,
And
a point
then
here,
I'm
and a
going to
point
select
here
everything else
as
and
we come
delete
down,
off of this
just
shape.
because the
I can
shape
actually
is
cut that
tapering off
cockpit out
to
there.
a distant vanishing
No
point.
harm, no foul.
Let's come back up
You can
this
see the
side
little
here.
bevels on here.
I want the
All of
opacity
the
this pink that I'm making
picker,
turned down just so I
all
can
the
see
fuzz or
what's
whatever you
behind
want
it.
to call it that it's left
And
behind. find,
then I'm going to select
and I can
everything
be
else
as precise
off
or
the
not
shape.
with
I can
this. So now I'm
actually
back
cut
into
that
this pink
copy
area.
out there
I just needed to get
and
around that
remove
orange.
vowel. You can see the little bevels on here.
And this shape that I've made, I want to select it, and then I want to come over to my actual image and delete. So now that's pink, because this is what I'm working on here. And get rid of this pink image here, get rid of that marquee area because I don't want to work on it, and come back in here with this eraser so I can have a little more free space to work with.
I want to select
down there
and
and
then
get
I
rid
wanna
of
come
that.
over to my actual image
Zoom
and
out
delete. So now
and
that's
erase
pink.
just a bit more for my lasso
This is what
to
I'm
come
working on
around
here.
easily.
Get rid of this pink image here.
And
get
that
rid of
little
that
bit of
marquee area 'cause
precision
I don't wanna work
I
on
did
it,
over there,
and come back in here with this
even though I
eraser
did that kind of
so I can have a
fast,
little
that
more
looks
free
pretty
space to
clean,
work with.
but it cuts through wherever
And
I
then
mess
get
stuff
rid of
up.
that.
Whereas the
out,
picker tool did a
and
much
erase
nicer
just a bit
job
more for
almost
my
instantly.
lasso to
So
come
the
around
difference
easily.
between having poor
And that little bit
contrast
of
and having
precision
to map
I
that
did
out
over there,
versus
even though I
that
did
quick
that kind of
picker
fast,
or
that
chroma
looks
key or whatever you
pretty
want to do to
clean,
get rid of
but
background
it
stuff.
cuts through wherever I mess
Huge
stuff up.
difference, huge save of time.
Whereas the
Cut and
picker
paste.
tool did a
So
much
here is
nicer job
my
almost
thrusters,
instantly. So the difference between having poor contrast and
and
having to
then
map that out
that. What is this? This is my
versus
trash.
that quick picker
Trash.
or chroma key or whatever you want to do.
And
to
then I
get
can
rid of
also
background
throw
stuff.
away that shape because I don't
Huge
need it
difference,
anymore.
huge save of time.
And here is
cut and paste.
my.
So here is my
I do not want
thrusters,
to crop, stop, cancel,
and
move
then
you all on
that
screen.
is This is my trash.
That goes back to the good example
And I can
of
also throw
having
away
the end
that
state
shape
in
'cause I don't
mind.
need it anymore.
And then how much time and
Here
effort do you
is
want to spend actually doing an edit?
I do not want
So
to
all of this,
crop,
this is good capture,
cancel,
good capture coming through,
move you all
good
on
capture. I don't care that that's off.
That goes back
I'm
to
getting
good
so much
example
out of that.
having
So a
the
select
end
and a
state in
delete.
mind.
And now I've
And
got
then
all
how
of that
much time
here
and effort do you
again
want to
and
spend
again.
actually
And these are intricate
doing an
spaces in
edit.
here. That would be a pain in the
So
butt to
all of
go
this,
in
this is good
and
capture,
make a separate
capture,
shape for
good
each of
capture
these.
coming through.
And I don't have to worry
Good
about that. I
capture,
can
I
just
don't
get rid
care
of
that
all
that's
this orange
off.
stuff with
I'm
a click and a
getting
delete
so much out
for,
of that.
oops,
So
not
a
that one. I'm
select
glad I
and a delete.
paused.
And now I've got all of that here again. and
Get rid of
again.
all those
And these are
guys.
intricate spaces in here. That would be a pain in the butt to go
Anything close
in
to the
and
ship.
make a separate shape.
Then
for
I
each
need
of these,
to
and I
be
don't have to
really
worry about that. I can
discerning
just get
with
rid of all
the
this orange stuff
shade.
with a click and a
I
delete.
don't actually have to
or,
be all
oops,
that
not one.
safe with
Glad
what
I
I'm doing here.
paused.
This is
rid of all
actually
those
kind of awkward. It
guys.
looks like it's bending underneath you, like
Anything
it's
close
coming
to
up
the
this
ship,
way, and then
I
it's
need to
bending back down.
be really discerning with
That's just
the
kind of weird. Perspective.
shade. I don't actually have to be all
I
that
can get
safe
rid of
with
all
what
of
I'm
that.
doing
Good.
here.
Good. Get rid of this.
This is actually
I'll
kind
come
of
back
awkward.
for that
Looks like
orange.
it's bending
Maybe.
underneath you, like
Get
it's
rid of
coming
that
up
and
this
that.
way,
And
then it's
this.
bending back
And
down.
that's most of it.
That's
Get
just
rid of
kinda weird
that shadow too.
perspective.
Actually, I don't care about that shadow. Erase.
Get rid of all of that. Good.
Come in here. Get that.
Get rid of this.
Get
I'll come
that.
back for
That's
that
plenty of
orange.
space up and around there.
Get
Get some of
that
these little
back.
hanging bits.
This. And
Because
that's
if I don't erase them
most of
now,
it.
even though they'll
That
show up
shadow too.
in
Actually, I
the
don't care about
conversion
that shadow.
process of turning this into wireframing, it won't really matter that so much. It'll look like little speckles on the final page, which kind of adds some charm to it.
Some of these little
I think it does at least.
Because if I don't erase them now,
And then I was going to
even
add
though they'll
coffee
show
stains
up
to it
in
anyways.
the conversion process of turning this into
Let's move it to a
wireframing,
smaller brush.
it won't really matter that so much. It'll look
And then
like
you can
little
make things a little
speckles
safer on yourself,
on
a little
the
easier
final
too.
page, which kind of adds some charm to it. I think it does at least.
Zoom.
And then I was going to add coffee stains.
Come in
to it
here,
anyways.
the smaller brush, and I can do a little more detail work
Let's move
without
to a
chipping
smaller
away
brush.
at everything.
And you can make things a little safer on yourself, a little easier too.
That can stay. 'Cause you're not going to see all of that anyways, or it'll add
Come in here, the smaller
extra
brush,
contrast
I
or
can do a little
something
more
to it.
detail work without chipping
Come
away
through here,
at
this
everything.
shadow,
That
because the
that can
guns
stay.
are casting a shadow on themselves and everything around them.
You're not going to see
that
all
down a
of
bit.
that anyways, or it'll add
Pull
extra
that,
contrast or
this.
something to it.
Oop. I think I erased part of that gun. Doesn't matter.
This shadow.
We'll
The
just
guns are casting a shadow
make
on themselves and
happy
everything
little
around
mistakes
them.
and move along here. We erase. Oh, one other thing that's pretty cool about some erasers is I just made a click over there and I can just hold shift and boom, straight line. So that can help you speed up things too, do straight lines. It works with the brush as well as the eraser, which is pretty cool. Little things that you find, little shortcuts. Just like I'm navigating around pretty fast because I know, and that's why I didn't want to learn or bother learning GIMP because I already have Photoshop. And for me, it is already free because I purchased it, so I don't have to worry. But I also already know some of the key commands for things. So I don't really want to learn something else because I'm too lazy to do that. Because clearly I'm not doing this for pure artistic skill or ability. Like, look, I deleted half of a thruster there. And I just don't care at this point. That was the underside of the pillar gone. And nobody's going to see this. I will see it. And it'll probably enrage me to go back and fix it later. We'll see. We shall see. But it's up to you. How much time do you want to spend doing small, tiny details to something? This is already not the best detail color. And well, it's going to be wireframe, so you're not going to see any color. That's not going to be the most detailed thing in the world. And it's going to be on the screen, panning across. You don't need like high depth detail for it. At least I don't think you will. Especially because it's only going to be on the screen in 1080. So it's not going to be the most high detail, in-depth center focus. It's going to look really scratchy and grainy.
You don't need like high.
So ultimately, being bad is
especially because it's
good.
only going to be on the screen in
Depends on what you want.
1080. So it's not.
We'll see here.
The most high detail.
Zoom out.
Center focus. It's going to look.
That'll be good enough for me. Let's do one more big brush erase.
So ultimately,
this guy.
Being bad is
big brush erase, so I can get close with the lasso.
Depends on what you want.
And
we'll see here.
I have gun down there. I do not. Cancel
be
that.
Good enough.
Lasso.
Let's do one more big brush erase.
Scooch up through here, around. Take this.
Big brush erase.
Even though I went off the page, it won't matter because it'll only go down so far. And then this is the background. You go in the trash. You are conveyor.
Lasso.
Scooch up through here, around, take behemoth conveyors, and
even though I went off the page, it won't matter.
You're done. Next.
Because it'll only go down so far.
Backside, we want our wand again. Let's go back up to 40.
You are conveyor.
That looks good.
Conveyors.
For the most part, everywhere. I'm just looking to make sure it's not clipping into the ship too much. Gone. Gone.
Backside, we want our wand
gone.
Again. Let's go back up.
Gone. Gone. That's pretty good. And then we'll go erase.
Good.
With this one, the shape is pretty simple, so I could have even done that little pin tool just to take this shape out. But this is ultimately a fair bit faster.
Pretty good.
And easier. So I don't have to be anywhere near as detailed. And I'm making the art program work for me as opposed to me having to work for it to get what I want. So the lower effort and the faster I can do it, the easier it is to produce the final content. And this is ultimately going to be a very, very tiny piece of that final piece of content.
Having to work for it to get what I want.
I know of a perfect way to exemplify that comment. Not go away.
Final content.
This goes here. Let's pull up the other picture that I had. Where were you at? Transitions. I want.
I know a perfect way
Factorum
to
reset. It was.
That comment.
Where are you? We have to minimize this guy.
This goes here. Let's pull
so
up
this right here.
That I had.
This picture is what that video background is. It was listening to some music, and I can't remember what it was, but just something I had put on, like epic background music, and there was one of the little, hey, like this robot hand is moving, and you had like some birds flying through, the clouds moved ever so suddenly, and there's a main foreground character here which moved a little bit. I really like those kinds of backgrounds when you're listening to music. There's not a whole lot going on, but it's cool enough. And I saw the picture, and I'm like, you know what? I want that. I want that really bad for a picture. So it's like, hey, here's my engineer with his little welder, defeated all of these bots, and then you have like Factorum ships on the way. This is example of like kind of just like putting whatever. Oh, there's a bird right there. Putting bunch of stuff together. I didn't have to do anything for any of this. I took a different picture of my engineer, copy pasted, put it in there. This character had like flowing hair and swords all over the place. You can kind of see like the sunset is distorted. There's stuff over here, and I used like the smudge tool to erase it, but it's kind of vague, so you don't see what's going on there, and it doesn't matter. I think there was some other stuff over here, and I just used the ink stamper to kind of cover up things as you move it across. And if you didn't see the original image and this image, let's do there. So there's the original. We'll move
and it doesn't matter.
You
I think there was
side
some
to
other
side.
stuff over here, and I just used the ink stamper
Not that,
to
because
kind
that's
of
the video.
cover up things as you
Move
it
this
across.
side to
And
side.
if you didn't see the original image,
So
and
if
this
you didn't
image,
see this
let's
original,
do,
because you had that whole character in there, there's a
there's the
sword coming
original.
down. You can kind of see it now that you're looking at it.
you
There's
side to side.
hair that's wafting off this way, and some of that
'Cause that's the video.
jacket or whatever.
This side to
You can
side.
see all those things in there now, but you
So if
wouldn't
didn't
be able to see
this
them
original,
without that.
'cause you had that whole
For
character
some
in
reason,
there,
the
there's a
ships are
sword
in
coming
that
down.
picture.
You
Where's
can
the
kinda see it now
original?
that you're looking at it.
Is it
There's
this one?
hair that's wafting off this way, and some of that
Go back.
jacket or
Pieces,
whatever.
pieces, pieces.
You can see all those things in there.
That one's
now,
called
but you
Cool.
wouldn't be
Okay,
able
so
to
here's
see
the
it
original. Yeah,
without
this
that.
is the
For
video
some
that I
reason,
found
the
it from.
ships are in that
So
picture.
this is
Where's
the original, but you can see how I kind of edited
Is it
out
this
some
one?
of these other elements because you don't have the starships in there because that obviously wasn't part of it.
Go back.
Those
Pieces,
Factorum
pieces,
ships, do I have a
pieces.
picture? I do not. I probably just
Okay, so
copy and
here's the
pasted
original.
it
Yeah, this is the
off of the
video that I found it
workshop.
from.
There was a picture of
So
just
this
all
is
these
the
ships.
original,
These
but you
are
can see how I
actually
kinda
all
edited
upside
out
down, and a
some
lot
these
of them
other
are
elements 'cause you don't
inverted.
have the
Just
starships
because
that
the
obviously wasn't
way
part
the
of it.
picture was taken,
Those
the
Factorum
light
ships,
was
do I
over
have a
here,
picture?
facing into the ships, and they were
Do
all
not. I
pointed
probably
in
just
this
copy and
direction.
pasted it
In this image,
off of the
the light's
workshop.
kind of
There's
coming
a
from
picture
the
of just all these ships.
back, so
These are actually all
from here it
upside
would be
down,
underneath
and a lot of
and
them
in the
are
distance.
inverted.
So if I just take
because
those ships and
this
flip
way
around,
the
I don't
picture
have
was
to worry
taken,
about
the light
them
was over
not
here,
being the correct
facing into the
color
ships, and they
being
were all
lighted.
pointed
And
in
then it
this
was just a
direction.
matter of
In this
mirroring
image,
them to make
the
sure that
light's
they
kinda
are
coming from
lit the
the
appropriate way.
back, so
Even then, those ships
from
are
here
still
it would
really
be
crisp.
underneath and in the
And
distance.
let's
So if I
go
just take those ships and
to
flip around, I
ship
don't have to
cutouts.
worry
This guy.
about
We'll open
them
this,
not
and I
being the
can
correct
do a better job
color being
of
lighted.
explaining
And then it
this.
was just a matter of
We'll get rid of
mirroring them to make sure that
the
they are
Factorum
lit
ships
the
there.
appropriate way.
In that Factorum ships,
Even then,
I
those
have
ships are still really
all
crisp.
these layers. Let's get rid of
And
these guys because I
let's
don't
go
want them. They're
to
other ships.
Ship cutouts.
Or maybe
this
I
guy.
should use these as
We'll
the
open this,
demonstration.
and I can do
These
a
are
better
all
job
other ships there,
of
and
explaining
here's like how crisp they are
get rid of
and how their shadows are all over the place.
Factorum ships there.
So I don't
In that
care for
Factorum
them.
ships, I have
Let's do,
all these layers. Let's get rid of these guys.
we'll just
'cause
call
I
this
don't
no,
want them. They're other ships. Or maybe I
No,
should use these as a
because
demonstration.
ultimately I don't want them.
These are all other ships there. And
No,
here's like how crisp
that
they
way.
are.
Always,
and how
always
their
label your
shadows are all
layers.
over the
Always
place.
label your parts on your
So I
grid
don't
so you
care
know
for them.
what you're looking at.
Let's do.
Here's all the ships that are up
let's call
here,
this no.
and I have this little overlay piece. So these are the ships.
It's
I'm
not
go
this way. I
and
don't
erase
want
all of them. This right here is
That
actually,
way.
can I
always
make you
label your
pop up?
layers.
I
Always
cannot.
label your parts on your grid so you
Go
know
here.
what you're
So
looking at.
this is nasty pink background here.
Here's
This
all
is
the
a
ships
chunk
that are
of
up
that
here,
scene, and I just overlaid it on
have
top of
this little
everything
overlay
and dropped
piece.
that
So these are the
opacity on
ships.
it a little
I'll
bit.
go and erase all of them.
And if I disappear
This
that,
right here
you
is
can't see
actually,
that cropped piece
let me
there
make you pop up.
whatsoever.
Not.
And if I just had those Factorum ships,
So
there they
this is
are,
nasty
super
pink
clean
background
and
here.
crisp.
This
But
is a
it doesn't
chunk
look
of
like
that
it fits
scene,
with
and I
anything
just
else in here.
overlaid it
Even
on
like
top
the
of
engineer
everything and dropped
doesn't
that
really fit
opacity
in
on it a
here
little
just
bit.
because everything else is so
If I
faded.
disappear that,
So what I
you can't
should
see
probably do
that
is
cropped
copy
piece
this
there
background and even let him
whatsoever.
fade a bit.
And if I just had those
But
Factorum
do I
ships,
really care
there
that
they
much?
are,
These guys, I
super
have a
clean and
higher
crisp. But it doesn't look like it
opacity
fits
on
with
them just to
anything
make
else in
them
here.
look
Even like the
further up in the
engineer
distance.
doesn't really fit in here
And
just
even
because
these
everything else
arms,
is
like
so
the robot's
faded.
sitting right
So
there.
what I
And
should probably
I'm in the
do
center of
is
focus
copy this
of it,
background
and I
even
haven't
let
put any
him fade
opacity
a
on there.
bit.
I could make him look
But
a
do I
little
really
more
care that much?
distorted.
These guys, I
That
have a
way it'll
higher
match closer to,
opacity on them just to make them look
let's
further
go,
in the distance. And even these
that's
arms,
all
like the
there.
robot sitting
It'll make
right
it look
there.
closer
And
to
I'm in the center of
that.
focus
So
of
even
it,
this
and
character
I
isn't
haven't put any
perfectly
opacity on there. I could make him
crisp
look
in here, even though they are kind
more
of the center
distorted.
focus. This is
That way
more
it'll match
in
closer
focus
to
with the, I guess the foreground is in the focus, the midground is starting to fade, and everything else in the background is
it'll make
fading
it
as
look
well.
closer
We'll pop our
to
engineer back in there,
that. So
and
even
these
this character
guys,
isn't
and I'll
perfectly
save this naming,
crisp in
and I'll
here,
just
even though
save
they are kind of the
that, and
center
we'll close
focus.
it.
This is
But that's
more
a good
in
example of how
focus,
you can make things
the,
look
I guess
like
the
they shouldn't be
foreground
in
is
there.
in the
And that's
focus, the
very, very
midground is
basic
starting
skill
to
that I
fade,
have
and
doing
everything else in the
editing.
background is
And that's essentially what I
fading as
just
well.
put
So
on
we'll
the
pop our
screen
engineer back in there,
as a
and these
still
guys,
picture, and then
I'll
had all the other
save this
effects happen
naming,
to it.
and I'll just save
We'll close that
and
now.
close it.
And
But that's
this
a good
is
example
also
of how you
good
can
here.
make things look like they
So
shouldn't
we'll
be in there. And that's very,
close
very
that
basic
one
skill that I have.
and move on to
doing
another
editing.
picture.
And that's essentially what I just put on the screen as a still picture, and then had all the other effects happen.
Let's
to it.
take a look here.
We'll close that now. And
This is going to be
this
nasty
is also
contrast.
good here. So we'll
I don't
close
want that one,
that.
so I
move
will
on to
throw
another
you
picture.
away because I already had an ISO. This is the underside with the
Let's take a
Yamato
look
cannon.
here. This is going to be nasty contrast.
Maybe I cut
I don't want
that
one.
out
I will throw you
for the Yamato cannon to make it look
away 'cause I
more
already had an
intimidating.
ISO. This is the
Let's do that.
underside with the Yamato cannon.
So we'll take you, wand. That's wand at
Maybe-
40.
Maybe I cut
Cuts through here.
that out.
That orange is gone.
For the
That
Yamato
orange is
cannon
gone.
to
That's
make it
too
look
much.
more intimidating.
You're pretty crisp through here.
Let's do that.
I like it. Gone, gone, gone. And then we can drop you down to 10.
Take you.
Get under
wand.
here,
That's wand at
and
40.
we'll come back for that. And under here.
Cuts through here. That orange is gone.
Key,
That orange is
erase.
gone.
That
That's
way we
too
can
much.
get some of this other stuff.
You're pretty
All this
crisp
is
through here.
gone.
I like it. Gone, gone, gone.
Come back through
And then
here.
Drop you down to 10.
Look how fast that was. Just having some
Get
good
under
contrast.
here,
And I don't have to
and
worry
we'll
about
come back
green
to that.
stuff. These are
Get under
actually
here.
turrets sticking out, and I don't care.
Key erase.
I'm just going to erase
Get
up to
some
them
of
because
this
they
other
look
stuff.
like they're
All
out
this
of
is
place.
gone. Come back through here.
And
Look
there
how
was
fast
a
that
little
was.
orange somewhere,
Just having some good contrast.
like right there. I don't care.
have to worry about green stuff.
We'll take
These
that.
are actually turrets sticking
We'll
out. and I don't care.
Lasso all of you,
I'm just gonna erase
cut and paste,
up to them because they look like
and then
they're
you will be
out of place.
behemoth front, and
There was a little orange somewhere.
this is
Like
trash
right
now.
there. I don't care.
And one more
We'll take that.
lasso.
Lasso.
Let's go tolerance
you,
to 40,
cut and paste.
40.
It will be
That'll catch that. That looks good.
behemoth front.
Good.
and
Good. Too much. I'll take it.
This is trash now.
Good.
And one more
I'll take it.
lasso.
And then
let's go tolerance to 40.
you
40.
should be good. We'll drop over here to
Okay.
10.
That
What do I
looks
want?
good.
That shadow.
Good.
Gone.
Good. Too much.
Gone.
I'll take it.
Gone.
Good.
And that gets us pretty
take
close
it.
to what we want. Then we can
Then-
erase here.
You should be good.
That.
Drop over here to 10. What do I want? That shadow.
That looks good. Oh,
gone.
this is shadow.
Gone.
Bye.
Gone.
Like,
And that
what is
gets us
this
pretty
thing
close
over
to what
here?
we want. Then we can erase.
And that's also shadow.
here.
Bye. erase you. I don't care about that. It's a little bit of shadow back there, and it's gone.
This is
Can I
shadow.
get that with the tolerance 10, and it's gone.
like, what is this thing over here?
Key erase you.
That's also shadow.
That looks good. That's good. And then I goofed again
You.
because this little bit down here.
It's a little bit of shadow back there, and it's gone.
What if I just...
Can I get that with the tolerance 10, and it's gone. Key erase.
Close enough.
You.
And then same thing over here.
Good.
It's a good thing that's not such a detailed piece that I can't get away with that.
What if I just...
All right. And I will lasso all of you.
Close enough.
And I see those bits. Cut and paste.
And then same thing over here. It's a good thing that's not
This
such
is
a detailed
trash.
piece that I can't get away with that.
Stop it. Now you open
All right.
for there.
And I will
Trash.
all of
And you are underside.
see those bits.
Okay. Now I have all this pink crap. And I want it
Trash.
not pink.
Stop it.
I also
Now you
want
open for
all these
there.
pieces on so I can make it a picture.
Trash. And you are...
And where is the scale? I want this guy over here.
Now I have all this pink crap.
So I can put as
and
many
I
of these
want it
things on here
Not pink.
in a decent way.
I also want all these pieces on.
I also
can
want
make
to
a
see you
picture.
guys.
And where is
You're
the scale? I want
Done.
This guy
Put you...
over here.
What if
So
we
I can
rotate
put
you
as many
around?
of these things
Oop.
on here. And
This is like... I don't know what's a good way to describe these bits. We're trying to maximize the canvas space.
Done.
Put as much stuff on here as possible
What if we rotate you around?
so that you don't have to do
This
a
is
whole
like-
bunch
I don't know
of
if
stuff
that's a
with
good
it.
way
Let me
describe
flip this
these
horizontal
bits. Trying to maximize
because I only
the
want to
canvas
take
space,
a couple of
put as much stuff on
pictures
here
of
as
all of this.
possible
And then
so
with
that
those
you
couple of
don't
pictures,
have to do
I
a whole
can
bunch
do fewer
of stuff with
cuts
it.
and pastes
Let
of this whole
me
thing.
Flip this
I
horizontal.
can do like all of this in 2
because I only want
when
to
I
take
do
a
the
couple of
edge clipping
pictures of all of this.
or edge detection bit. As long as I get all
And
these
with those couple of pictures
bits in the right
I can
place,
do
and
fewer
that can sit right there.
cuts and pastes of this whole thing.
And I'm just dropping down these
I
layers
can
as I go
do
through
all of this in
to
2
get good
when I do
pictures,
the edge clipping or
just
edge
to get them
detection bit.
mostly in there, because I
As I
can
get all
still
these
edit these to an
bits
extent
in the right place.
afterwards. And again, you don't have to
Sit
be super
right
detailed.
there.
They're only going to be about yay
And I'm just
big
dropping
and
down
not
these
have
layers
any
as
of
I go
this
through
quality
to get
here in
good
just a second.
pictures.
I would rotate that guy a little bit.
just to get them
Just because I can.
mostly in there because I can still edit
There's a
these
huge
to an
mess.
extent
I think I will leave this huge mess
afterwards. And
here.
again, you don't have to be super detailed. They're
Let's
only gonna
move
be
all
about
of this
yay big
gone.
and not have any of this
That's a huge mess.
quality.
That's a huge
Here in
mess.
Just a second. There we go.
And that's a
Rotate
huge
that
mess.
little bit. Just because I can.
Let's save this.
There's a huge mess.
Save
I have this
as
huge mess here.
this will be
Let's move
PNG.
all of this gone. That's a huge mess. That's a huge mess. And that's a huge mess. Let's save this
Behemoth engine
Save
cuts
as
1. Just Behemoth
PNG.
cuts 1. Save and then all of that,
Engine cuts.
and I will save you as
1.
Behemoth cuts
Just Behemoth cuts.
as a PNG.
1. Save and
Behemoth
then
cuts 2.
All
Save.
of that.
We'll minimize
save
this.
you
Actually,
as
I'll save because I've got all this extra stuff that I've done.
PNG.
I don't have anything sitting over this, and this is exactly what I want. Transparent background. Don't have to worry about anything.
Behemoth cuts 2.
minimize that. We don't need these guys anymore. Let's go to GIMP finally. These are all the other things that I've done in here before. So I've got a bunch of other cutouts. You see these defiant ones are the blueprint
and this is exactly what
bits
I want. Transparent background.
that
don't
we
have to worry
had
about
in that
anything.
initial.
Minimize
Oh,
that. We
is
don't
that
need
a-
these guys anymore.
Yeah, there's
Let's
some of
go
the
to
behemoth
GIMP
that I've
finally.
already done before. So if those
These
look
are all
better,
the other things that I've done
then
here
we'll
before,
use
so I've
those.
got, a bunch of
Other
other
the little grid pieces
cutouts.
in
You
there.
see these defiant ones.
So let's
are the,
go
blueprint
over to our
bits
file. I want the
that we had
behemoth
in that initial.
cuts.
Oh, is that a? Yeah, there's some of the behemoth that I've already done before. So if those look better,
Behemoth cuts one.
then we'll use
Throw
those.
you over here.
Other the little grid pieces.
And
Let's go.
I want this
over
tool.
to our file. I want
I
the
move.
behemoth cuts.
Are you going to move? And which way are you going to move?
Throw you over here.
And so if I put you here,
This tool.
so this thing is so big that I'm only going to get
Are you
it
going to move?
off of this. So even though there's just the one cuts off of it, I'm just going to get that one. And that means I'm ultimately not going to care about this because I think I can only apply everything to this one piece.
Here.
Let's go here. We will do tools.
Off of
I think it
this.
was tools.
So even though there's
filter,
just the one cut.
filter, edge
off
detect,
of it, I'm just gonna
edge.
get that one. And that means I'm
We're going to
ultimately not
use
gonna care about
Lapras,
this,
and we're going to
I can
color
only
to taste.
apply
I'm trying to make
everything to
the
this
white
one piece.
stuff pop on there as much as
let's
possible. So
go
somewhere
here.
around 5.
We
Don't
will
worry about all the
do
rest of that color.
tools.
We'll make that
I
go
think it
away here in
was
just a second.
tools,
Colors,
filter, edge
use
detect,
saturation,
edge.
saturation down to
And
minus
we'll
100.
use
Now we're
Lapras,
black and white. We don't
and
have
we're
all
gonna
those
color to
little
taste. I'm trying to
rainbow
make
colors
the
everywhere.
white stuff
And next
pop
we'll
on
get
there
rid of all
as
the
much as
black stuff
possible.
in there.
So somewhere around 5.
We'll get rid
Don't
of
worry about
that.
all the rest of that color.
Colors,
go
and
away here
then
in
we'll
just a
go
second.
to color to alpha, and we
Colors,
will make
use
all of the black
saturation down
invisible.
to minus 100. Now we're black and white.
There we go.
don't have all
So
those
now we
little,
have a nice
rainbow
wireframe.
colors everywhere.
And this is
And
where
next
like
we'll
having
go
a bunch of
for
little
the
detail
black.
pieces kind of like makes things pop.
Get rid of
And
that.
you can see like the inside gradient of the
Colors,
cone.
and then we'll go
This
to
is so
alpha,
easy for
and
so
we will
little effort.
make
I mean, it took a lot of effort
all of
to
the black.
rebuild or just weld up this whole thing and then
So now
take
we
a
have
picture
nice
of it and cut it.
wireframe.
But
And
for
this is
those few
where, like,
steps
having
there
a
at
bunch
the
of little
end,
detail
bam, done.
pieces kind of,
I
like,
love it.
makes things pop.
And then we
And you
will
can see, like,
file
the
export.
inside gradient of the
Because GIMP
cone.
is weird. I have to
This
export
is
things.
so easy for so little effort.
So I can erase this. And I try it again. Behemoth cuts
This is my current
one.
frame.
Throw it in there.
So I can see more.
Grab
But
you.
you won't let
And
me.
probably because I already applied stuff to it, it didn't like me doing a movement,
Erase this.
which is weird. I think it's
Try
weird.
it again.
But that whole piece is
Behemoth
done.
cuts
Now I can do these
one.
two, and we'll do
in
the
there.
same thing. We'll do a filter, edge
Grab
detect,
you,
edge,
and probably because I already
Lapras,
applied
and color to flavor.
stuff to it.
Looks
It
good.
didn't like me doing
Colors,
a
use
movement, which
saturation,
is weird.
saturation to
I
nope.
think it's weird. But that
And
whole piece
color
is done. Now I can do these two,
alpha
and we'll do the same thing. We'll do a filter,
zeros.
edge,
Bam.
detect, edge.
Looks good. And that's exactly what I want. I don't care about that bit, but I can get rid of it. And then we
good.
will export this guy too.
Colors, use saturation,
Export.
saturation to nope.
Whoop.
And color
Export to
alpha zeros. Bam.
Behemoth
good.
wireframes too.
And that's exactly what I want. I don't care about that bit, but I can get rid of it. And then we will export this guy too.
Export PNG wireframes too.
Export to.
And we will do.
Behemoth wireframes too.
Ooh, that's going to take a couple of it too. And we'll take this move tool and we'll scooch this over.
Export PNG.
Scooch it over.
Wireframes too.
Scooch. There we go.
And we will
As
do.
I want to do this as few times as possible. Why aren't
that's
you
gonna
moving?
take a couple of it too.
I know I have
And we'll take this move tool and we'll scooch this
more.
over. Scooch it over. Scooch. There we go.
and now you're stuck there because I don't want to just get 2 out of it.
as few
Maybe
times as possible.
you're struggling for some
while I'm
reason.
moving. I know I have
There's some movement. There we go.
more.
If I push you here, I can get those 4. Easy peasy.
And now you're stuck there because I don't want to
And
just
then
get
we'll
2
do
out of it.
filters
Maybe you're
again. Edge detect,
struggling for
edge,
some reason.
algorithm, lapras, somewhere in there. Get
There's some movement.
nice
There we go.
details. Look how detailed that is. That even looks nice on the
I
black.
push you
And that's why I was thinking I wanted to
here.
do it
I
against
can
the
get those
gray,
4.
like I did in the Bissell
Easy peasy.
video,
And then we'll
just
do
because
filters again.
those are the
Edge
colors
detect,
that I'm wanting to
edge,
go with, and I think it
algorithm,
looks nice.
lapras,
Color to alpha, and we'll
somewhere
set
in
this
there. Get
also here.
nice
Black, make
details.
that
Look how
pop.
detailed that is. That
And
even
then
looks
we
nice on the
will
black.
once
And
again.
that's why I was thinking I wanted to do it
I'll
against
export.
the gray, like I did in the Bissell video.
Behemoth
because
wireframes. We're already in the
those are
right
colors
place.
that I want to go with.
Export
and
as
I think it looks
PNG.
nice.
Export 3.
Color to alpha, and we'll set this also here.
Export.
Black. Make that pop. And then we will once again.
And even though I've
export
done things to this, are you gonna let me move?
Behemoth wireframes. We're already in the right
Oh,
place.
now you're letting me move. Oh, hey, you did it.
Export as
Oh, this is
PNG.
something interesting that I've seen it do before too, because this little bit was exposed. It did that slice there, so I could actually like highlight
Even though I've
the
done
half of a
things to
ship
this,
and then
are
have
you
half
letting me
wireframe, half actual
move?
ship. I think that's an interesting effect to
Now you're letting me
do,
move. Oh,
but
hey, you did it.
we're
This is
being
something
fussy
interesting
here.
that I've seen it do before too, because this little bit was
Why won't you
exposed.
move?
It did.
Can
that
I? Do I have a
slice there.
history?
So
Can
I could actually like
undo?
highlight the half of a ship
Can I
and then
undo?
have half
Undo.
wireframe, half
I'll save
actual
that
ship.
there,
I
and
think
then I'll just
that's
do
an
as I did
interesting
before
effect
and move
to
another
but
duplicate of here
being
and move
fussy
this whole
here.
thing over, so that we don't have to worry about
Why won't you move?
having to
Can I- do I
move
have a
our
history? Can
wireframe
I just
pieces
undo?
all over the place. Just come on, move for me.
Undo.
And down a
I'll
little.
save that there. And then I'll just do as I did
Not
before.
that much.
And move another
Move,
duplicate
please.
of here and move this whole thing over so that
There
we
you
don't
go.
have to worry about
Now I don't care about
having
those
to
bits. I
move
want
our
these bits.
wireframe pieces.
And then we
all
will
over
do the
place.
same.
Just come on,
Filters,
move.
edge detect, edge.
And down a
Getting a
little.
lot of practice with this now.
Not that much.
Color to flavor.
Move, please.
And saturation.
Go. Now I don't care about those
Colors
bits.
to
I
alpha.
want these bits. And then we will
Okay.
do the same filters, edge detect.
And then we will
getting a lot of practice with this now.
export again.
Color to flavor.
As 4.
And saturation. Colors to alpha. Okay.
And it's
then
gone.
we will file
That's good. I will save this.
again.
GIMP is saved. Minimize there. And let's go to Photoshop. Bam. So these are all of the cuts that I did. And how did Defiant have it? Duplication. I didn't bother dealing with the duplication.
That's good. I
The
will save
cuts
this,
are all
hit
one
save,
thing, and then
minimize there,
wireframe was something else.
And let's go to
So
Photoshop.
as I re-import
So these are
the
all
Behemoth,
of
I don't
the
want
cuts
any of
that I
these.
did.
I can put
And
the blue
Defiant.
layer on, and I can
Duplication.
pull
I didn't
all of my
bother dealing with the
wireframes because I'm
duplication.
going to just do this
The
one at a time. I got
cuts
4
are
big
all
files,
one thing,
and I
then
got to
the
cut
wireframe
off like
was
a couple
something
ships
else.
apiece. So this is number
I
17.
re-import the
There's
Behemoth.
a
I don't
good
want any of these.
piece there. Let's grab my
I
lasso.
can put the
I can
blue layer on,
cut all
and
of
I can pull
this.
all of my wireframes because I'm going to just do this one at a time. I got 4 big
Cut
files.
and paste.
And I got to cut off
Move
like a couple
you.
ships apiece.
You are
So this is number 17. There's a good
wireframe.
piece there. Grab my lasso.
Gone.
Cut
You are
all of this.
Ruster's
cut and paste.
wireframe.
Move you. You are
That way I can have all of my wireframe things together, and then I don't need that.
wireframe.
And we'll go ahead and
Gone. You are
whoa. This is the cutouts. I do want you. I don't want you. You're gone.
Ruster's wireframe.
I don't want Photoshop to go closing the wrong stuff on me.
That way I can have all of my
Gone.
wireframe things
You are
together,
now
and
layer
then
17.
I
So
don't
this is
need
that little cut piece
So
I
we'll
don't
go
care
ahead
about.
and
I can just go around here.
Whoa, whoa,
And you can
whoa.
see the little bits of stuff
This
that I
is the
left
kind of
behind in
screen you
there,
want
and it
you
kind of
and
adds
don't want you.
to the
Don't
image itself. And it's gone.
Photoshop to go closing the wrong stuff on.
So it doesn't really matter
on.
if you have those
You
bits in
are
there for
now layer
perfection or
17.
not.
So this is that
It's
little cut
probably
piece
better
stuff
if they're
coming
not,
out.
because you can see like some really
Just
cool
also
shadowing effects in
around.
here.
And you can
This
see the little
circular
bits
bit
of
is the
stuff that I
actual
left
thruster,
behind in
so
there,
it's
and it
a
kinda
different
adds
color. And then
to
as
the
the
image
shadow
itself.
comes in here
And it's
with the
gone.
contrast, I think that looks really cool.
It
But it also
doesn't really
adds some
matter
charm
if
to
you
have
have
just
those
like little
bits in
white
there for
specks all over
perfection
the
or not.
place, as even the
It's probably better
shadows
if they're not,
and
because you can see
textures
like
really
some really
pop
cool
when you do
shadowing
this
effects in
wireframe.
here.
So you don't
This
have to be super
circular bit
perfect
is the
about it, and it's
actual
probably better
thruster,
if
so
you're
it's a
a
different
little
color.
messy,
And then
as long as
the
you just get
shadow
the
comes
good
in here
details in there.
with the
It'll
contrast,
come
I
out
think that
fine.
looks really cool.
On off, this will
But it also
be,
adds some charm to have just like
let
little
you
white
go over
specks
here.
all over the place, as even the shadows and textures really pop when you do
Thrusters,
this wireframe. You don't
wireframe,
have to be super perfect about it, and it's probably
ISO
better if
2,
you're a little messy,
and we'll
as
call
long as you
you
just get the good details in there. It'll come out fine.
thrusters,
On off,
wireframe,
this will
ISO
be
3.
got you
Gone,
here.
and we'll go to Behemoth wireframes,
Thrusters, wireframe,
Behemoth wireframes, and you can go
ISO
away.
2. And we'll call you
You can scooch down.
thrusters,
There we go.
wireframe,
And
ISO
here,
3.
let's cut you
Gone,
out
and we'll
on
go
this
to
side
Behemoth
first.
wireframes,
Lasso and
Behemoth wireframes.
slip through here. Actually,
You can go away.
no, because that's turret.
You can scooch down. There we go.
There,
And
there.
here, let's
we go.
cut you out
Cut
on this
paste,
side first.
because I
Lasso
have that already
and
pulled. This is the top side. That's the
slip
top
through
side.
here, actually. No, because that's turret.
Wireframe top.
There, there.
17 goes
There we go.
to
Cut paste.
lasso. Take
Because
this.
I have that already pulled. This is the top side. That's the top side.
Cut and paste. Move you over. You are wireframe top. Wireframe.
17 goes
Okay,
to
so
lasso. Take this.
gone. You take
Cut and paste.
that.
Move you over.
I can just delete
You are
these. And then I can come through here. Take this. Okay, so paste. You can be
on
bottom.
You take that. I can just delete.
And then that
these.
makes 17. The
Then I can
side.
here. Take this. Paste.
Okay, so
You can
side.
be
Cool.
bottom.
Boop, boop. Okay, now I have to deal with
And
another annoying thing.
17, the side.
And I wonder if I should even make that 2 images to scroll across, because I
Okay, so
absolutely could.
cool.
It's because there's so much of this behemoth on there.
Boop. Okay,
Let's
now
see.
I have to deal
Let's
with
turn all of our
another
wireframes
thing.
on, because I have
And
a
I wonder
lot of
if I should
wireframe
even
stuff
make
to work
that
with.
2 images to scroll across, because I
Let's start over here, because I had to
could.
piece
Just
stuff
because
together.
there's so much
I've
of
got
this
this big
behemoth on
one.
there.
This can
Let's
shrink
see.
down, but it's
Turn all
still
of our
important.
wireframes
And I think
on,
I
'cause
put
I
the
have a
Defiance
lot of
up there,
wireframe
so
stuff
you
to
can
work
go
with.
there. Let's also do these
Start over here,
thrusters.
'cause I had
Thrusters are
to
cool.
piece stuff together.
I can make you
I've
a
got
little bit
this big
smaller,
one.
and you can go over there.
This can shrink down.
You
still
are a big
important.
middle piece.
And I
Let's
think I
turn
put
you
the Defiance up
around
there, so you can go there.
like that. So everything's
let's
kind of
also
facing the same
do
direction.
these thrusters.
You,
Thrusters are cool. I
my
can make you a little bit smaller, and you can go over there.
T, and we will horizontal.
You are a big
Go.
middle piece. Let's
Scoot you
turn
back over. That
around
way everything's kind of facing the same direction.
that.
That's
Everything's
good.
kind of facing the same direction.
What are you?
You
You are kind of in that
my
same orientation.
T
So maybe I shrink you, not
Go.
that. I want to grab the
Scooch
corner
back
so
over.
it maintains
That way
the
everything's
proportion
kind
of
facing the
whatever
same
I'm looking at.
direction.
Let's scooch that off to the
That's
side.
good.
Actually, I'll
So
move it
what do we
down
do?
because I don't know where I want it.
You are kind
That
of
goes
in that
there.
same orientation.
This is
maybe
more
a
thrusters.
chunky-
This is the
I wanna
same
grab the
picture.
corner so it maintains the proportion of whatever I'm looking at.
I
Let's scooch that off to the side.
don't want this one.
Actually, I'll move it
You're
down
trash.
'cause
Goodbye.
I don't know where I want it. That goes there.
Said you're trash. Goodbye. There we go. Not to worry about that. I do have other thrusters over here.
Same picture.
So U thrusters you can also shrink
Don't want this one.
and you're trash. Goodbye. Or shrink and grow. Which way do we want these?
Said you're trash. Goodbye. There we go. Not to worry about that. I do have other thrusters over here. So U thrusters you can also shrink and
Yeah, you can go there.
or shrink and grow. Which way do we want these?
Maybe make them a little bigger. Wireframe. Not that. This side. Yeah, you can go there to horizontal flip. So you're there and you can be a lot smaller. You can actually be wireframe. That's the top, yeah. You can be the same length as there.
To horizontal flip. You're there and you can be
For
a lot
scale.
smaller.
Even though it's going to
You
look
can
a little off,
actually
like things don't measure out precisely,
Top, yeah.
it'll look
Be
cool
the
enough,
same
I think. It does look really squat, though,
as
just from the side. And that's just because of
there.
the distortions of the pictures.
For scale.
Top,
Even
here's
though
the
it's going to look
bottom,
a little
we'll
off, like things
control
don't
and
measure
rotate.
out precisely.
Another horizontal
It'll
rotation.
look cool enough, I think.
That way we
does
can
look
put
really squat,
call-outs
though,
in there.
just from the side.
That's
and that's
the.
just because of the
Did I didn't get a top-down of the thruster
distortions of the
network?
pictures.
I
Here's the
did not.
bottom, we'll control
Which
and
kind of makes me want to
rotate.
go back and get it.
Another horizontal rotation. That way we can put callouts in there.
If I have you
That's
here,
the- Did I
I
didn't
can
get a top-down
have
of the thruster network?
put the bottom.
I did not.
Are you
Which
even
kind
the
of
same
makes me want
size?
to go back and get it.
You're bigger, you're smaller. So like here,
You here.
making that head the same
Yeah.
size, we can see clearly the back's not long enough. And if we make this
Bottom.
larger to make the overall length, the head's a
Even
good
the
deal
same
larger.
size.
And it's just a matter of that perspective we took the picture in. So there is another
Bigger,
example
you're
of
smaller.
being consistent about what
So
you're
like
doing,
here, making
and
that head the same size, we can
you will
see
have a
clearly
good output.
the back's not
of
long
your
enough,
picture.
And if we make
I
this
almost
larger
want,
to make the overall length, the head's a good
bottom,
deal larger, and it's just a matter of that perspective we took the picture in.
and I'll probably have to
So
shrink
there,
that.
is another example of
Go
being
bottom,
consistent about what you're
side,
doing, and you will have a
and I
good
can
output
distort these a little
of
bit
your
too. Like
picture.
I can
I
stretch
almost
this
want,
guy out, and
bottom,
then top. You can even move these guys around,
and I'll probably
and
have
then
to
the
shrink
top.
that. Go bottom.
So we can have them all
side,
stacked. And if we made these guys
and I can
look
distort
about the
these a
same,
little bit too. Like I can stretch this guy out.
because that's a lot
And
of
then top. Can even move these
picture
guys
through
around.
there.
And then the top.
I think I
we
want
can have them all
this.
stacked. If we made these guys.
I mean, this does look better over there.
look about the same.
So what if we just put the bottom down there? Bottom goes here,
Because that's a lot of
because I want
through
the
there.
top is kind of a
I
focus,
think I want this.
and then
mean,
the
this does look better
side can
over
go
there.
underneath it,
So what if we just put the bottom down there? Bottom goes here.
and that can go here. That top needs to be rotated
want
just a
the
skosh
top.
because that's bothering me.
Is kind of a focus.
And this is another example of vanishing point stuff. So this looks like
And
it's
then
going
the
this way. This
side
looks
can
like
go
it's going this
underneath
way.
it.
And everything here is going back that way. And that's just based upon how we
That
took
can
the
go
picture.
here.
Not a lot we can
That
do
top
about
needs
it
to be
here,
rotated just a skosh, 'cause
but
it's
that's something to
bothering
keep
me.
in mind when you're taking
this is another
pictures,
example
doing
of,
this particular
vanishing
kind of
one step.
setup.
So this looks like it's going this way.
I'm gonna
This looks
move
like it's
you
going
back
this way.
a little
And
bit.
everything here is
Give
going
some stuff an
back
area
that
to
way.
breathe.
And that's
May
just
even
based upon how we
move
took the
the
picture.
bottom
Not
one.
a lot we can do
And I can
about
keep
it
adjusting these
here,
as necessary.
but that's
And I've
something
got
to keep in mind
3
when
more
you're
pictures.
taking pictures,
Move
doing this
thrusters.
particular kind of setup.
I'm gonna move you back a little bit. Give some stuff an area
Here,
to
I
breathe.
can
May
move
even
my
move
vision over.
bottom one.
Move the thrusters over
I
even
can
a
keep
bit more.
adjusting these as necessary.
Thrusters,
And I've got
and
3 more pictures. Move
you can stay down
thrusters.
there. Where's my other thrusters? There you are.
Here, I can move my vision over. Move the
Scoot you
thrusters
over.
even a bit.
Because that way I can have
Thrusters. and
information about thrusters in there, and this can sit there nicely.
You can stay down there.
And if I make
Where's
my
my other
grid
thrusters?
setup, there is the grid over everything. So just a quick, easy addition to it.
Scoot
We'll
you
take
over.
the grid off for the
That way I
moment.
can
I
have,
don't like this bottom one.
information
You
about
look
thrusters
too
in
small.
there, and this can sit
So
there
if I make
nicely.
you bigger,
And if I make my
make you
grid setup,
bigger to your hammer,
there is
and then
the grid over
stretch you
everything.
out. I gotta
So
make you
just
a
a
little
quick,
bigger
easy,
everywhere.
addition
Distort
to
you
it.
a bit,
We'll take the grid off for the moment. I don't
just so
like
you
this
look
bottom one.
decent.
You look too small.
And I can put you
So if I make you bigger,
here. Ooh, what if I make
make you bigger to your
the
hammer,
side one
and then stretch you
here?
out. I gotta make you a little bigger everywhere.
That way it's
Stretch
kind
you
of
a bit.
in line with the 3 of them.
Just so you look,
And then you can
decent.
come this way.
I can put you.
And I may even make the
here.
top one
What if I make
ever so slightly,
the side one
or
just here?
stretch it out.
That
Nobody
way it's
has to
kind
know.
of in line
That's our little secret.
with the 3
Ooh, did
of
this
them.
get nicked?
And then you can
No.
come this way.
That's too clean. That's
And
got to
then
be
you
how
can
that
make
back looks.
the
And this is
top
just the
one
pointy bits.
ever so slightly.
Oh, well.
Just stretch it out.
So that looks
Nobody has to
okay.
That's our
Here's my
little secret.
grids. The grids
this
are
get
lighter. I think I wanted
No.
these guys to be
That's too
darker,
clean.
and that's what I
gotta be
had
how that
in the
back
Defiant
looks.
one.
And this is just the pointy bits.
Those are a bit darker.
Oh well.
Let's do, because I can't make these darker other
So
than,
that looks
duplicating.
okay. Here's my grids. The grids are lighter.
let's make a
I think I wanted these guys to be
group.
darker, and that's what I had in the Defiant one. Those are a bit
You know,
darker.
duplication. I want all of my wireframes.
Because I can't
I'm going to
make these
duplicate
darker other
layer.
than duplicating.
That's all my duplications there. And you were
Let's
going to
make
throw into
a-
the duplication. And now they're extra bright. And because they're a little too bright, I will drop them down. But now they
duplication.
pop a bit
Want
more.
all of my wireframes.
And that's really what I want to see. I want to see them pop
Layer.
just a little bit. So I just add
That's
that
all my
extra bit
duplications
on there.
And you were going to throw into the
So
duplication.
that looks decent.
now
And
they're
as long as I
extra
keep
bright.
these
And because
like
they're
in
a
the
little too
same
bright,
space as I move
will
them around, I don't have to
drop them
worry about it.
down. Now they
Otherwise, I'll have
pop
to
a bit
redo
more.
that duplication, or we'll get a
and that's really what I
nasty
wanted. I wanna see
effect
them pop
on
just
there.
a little bit. So I just
So
extra.
speaking of, looking at this
so
spacing,
that looks decent. And
this
as long as I
is
keep these
too
in the
tight.
same,
Let's
space as I move
open
them around,
you.
I don't have to worry about it. Otherwise, I'll have to redo
I
that
want-
duplication, or we'll get a nasty effect.
Let's see
there.
more.
So speaking
Top,
of
top,
looking
side,
at
side.
this spacing, this is
Move.
too
There.
tight. Let's open you.
That way, there's a bit more
I
space. And then I also want,
let's see more.
which are you thrusters?
Top,
Bottoms,
top, side,
thruster.
side,
That one,
move. There.
thruster. Oops. You,
That way, there's a bit more space.
and 2 from the
And
bottom
then
thruster.
I also
So the first
want
thruster. And
two
you.
thrusters.
That way I can have you paired off and then move
Bottoms,
that.
thruster.
And that makes the
that one.
blueprint breathe just a little bit more. I think that looks a little bit better. We'll save our work. We're not done yet. Another
from the
cool
bottom
thing that we
thruster
can
to
do
first
is
thruster.
let's open up the browser.
That way
What is this
paired
called?
off
The
that. That's not the
That makes
plots.
the blueprint breathe just a little bit.
Space Engineers Appraisal.
We'll save our work.
So
We're
let's
not
drag
done
this
yet.
guy over.
Another
You're not going to
cool
let me
thing
drag.
that we can do is
You go
let's
away.
open up the browser.
You can also go away.
What is this called?
So this is an interesting website,
That's not the plots.
and you just throw your, I think they're SB5 files in here, and
Space
it'll tell you a bunch of
Engineers
stuff about the
Appraisal.
ship. It's not 100% accurate,
drag
but
this guy
if you
over.
want some
Back
interesting
over.
information that'll get you in the ballpark
You go
about
away.
printing,
You can
then
also go away.
it's pretty
so this
neat.
is an interesting
So we want to
website,
go.
and you just throw your
We don't
their SB
want
five
this
files
anymore.
in
Where
here,
do we
and it'll
have
tell you a bunch of
Behemoth?
stuff about the ship.
Yeah, you
It's not
are
100%
all my
accurate,
Behemoth.
but if you want
And I
some
can move
interesting
you
information that'll get you in the ballpark
here.
about printing,
Save all those for
then
another
it's
time,
pretty neat.
and then we can go.
wanna
Let's go get
go-
our blueprint.
We don't want this anymore. Where do we have Behemoth? Yeah, you
Blueprints.
are all my Behemoth, and I can move you here. Save all those for another time.
2-8, sure.
Get our blueprint.
SB5 file goes in here. No, SBC file goes in here. There's the one. And then it will tell you about block density overall for the ship. And
2-8.
this is kind of interesting too. So at the very beginning, when we dropped in our ship, its orientation wasn't exactly what we wanted. It was like
There's the one.
opposite of
And
what we
then
were
it
seeing. So we
will
can
tell
see
you
here that
about
the
block
ship was pointing
density
this
overall for the
direction
ship.
in one of the three.
This
This
is kind
looks
of
like it's
interesting, too.
upside down,
At the very
and this is
beginning,
also
when
clearly
we
upside
dropped
down.
in our ship,
So
its
if you
orientation
make the
wasn't
projector
exactly
blocks
what we wanted. It was, like,
oriented correctly
opposite,
and you paste the ship onto
of
it, you
what
can
we were
actually
seeing.
fix the
So we can
direction this
see
is
here
facing.
that,
This
the ship was
doesn't really
pointing
matter
this
for what we're looking at,
direction.
but if you
In
wanted
one of
this
the
to be
three,
correct
this
to make
looks
it
like it's
easily
upside
printable,
down,
that's a
and this
cool
is
thing to
also
see.
clearly upside down.
Over here, we can
So
see
if
46,000
you make the
PCU.
projector
That's pretty
blocks
spot on. All the blocks and
oriented
components and
correctly and you paste the
everything
ship onto
that
it,
it would
you can
take to
actually
make it.
fix
So
the
all the
direction this is
stuff would take
facing.
about 9 days on it. I guess
This
this is a
doesn't really
single
matter for what we're
refinery.
looking at, but,
It doesn't tell
if
you a
wanted
whole
this to
lot.
be correct to make
I
it
don't usually
easily
care
printable,
about the refinery because
that's
this
a
is
cool
all
thing to see.
creative, but it can
Over
get you
here, we can
close.
see
I have used this
46,000 PCU.
before
That's pretty
to
spot
print
on.
a couple
All
of
the
ships in the
blocks and
public
components
server.
and everything
So I
that
didn't
it
really
would
care
take
about the
to make it,
refinery
so all
time
the
because
stuff
I
would
already
take about
had
9 days
all
on
of
it. This is
the
a single refinery.
stuff
It doesn't
refined
tell you
for
a
it.
whole lot.
The
I
assembler
don't usually
time
care about the
was a
refinery
little
because this is all
more
creative,
important because I didn't keep
but it
all of
can get
the
you close.
parts on
I have
hand.
used this
I just had
before
tons and
to
ingots,
print a
and
couple
I
of
would have
ships
to
in the
tell it
public
to
server.
build some stuff.
So I didn't really care about the refinery
So with like
time
a
because I
single
already
assembler in
had
here,
all of the
we can come down
stuff
to
refined
here.
for it.
And it'll
The
tell you,
assembler
I
time
need to print
was a little
this many
more
steel plates,
important because
this
I
many
didn't keep
construction
all of
components,
the
all the
parts
way
on
down,
hand.
all of this
I
stuff.
just had
And that
tons
way
of
you know
ingots,
what the
and I
ship
would
is
have to tell it
composed
to
of.
build some
And
stuff.
you could go tell your assemblers
So
to
with like a
build
single
this, and you'll be
assembler in
pretty
here,
close to what you
we
need.
can come down
And
to
that's where that
here,
assembler time
and it'll
comes
tell
in.
you
Welding
need to
time, how long
print
would it take you to
this
weld all
many
this?
steel plates, this
The
many
time that I did
construction
have to use
all
this
the way
to
down,
print
all
on
of
the
this
public
stuff.
server,
And that way you
this
know
welder
what the
time, I
ship is
kind of ignored
composed
that
of.
too because I printed
And
this,
you
or I
can go tell your
made
assemblers
a
to
giant
build
printer
this,
rather
and you'll be pretty close
to have
what
it
you
pull
need.
through. The assembler
And
time
that's
didn't
where
really
that
matter,
assembler time
and
comes in.
I say
Welding
that
time, how long would it take
because
you to weld
I
all this?
don't make
The
these ships
time that
to
I
be
did have to use
printable.
this to
Meaning
print on
there's
the public
parts and
server,
stuff all over
this
the
welder
place that are
time, I
connected
kind
in
of ignored
only
that
one
too because I
place, and
printed
depending on
this,
the
or I
orientation
made
of the print,
a giant printer
it's a
rather
big problem.
to have it
There's
pull through.
quite a few
The
people that
assembler
tell
time
you about
didn't
easy
really
ways to
matter,
print and
and
designing ships to be easily
I say
printable.
that
A lot of
because
stuff that you think
don't
you have to
make
think
these
of
ships to be
beforehand
printable.
in making
Meaning
a ship,
there's
but
parts and stuff
we're
all
not going to
over
care
the
about
place
that.
that are connected in only
The
one
long of the
place, and
short,
depending
or the
on
short of the long
orientation
of the
of the
story
print,
is,
it's a big
even
problem.
after the ship had
There's
successfully
quite a
printed,
few
there
people
were
that
a
tell
number
you
of
about easy
components
ways to print
which
and
were
designing
not
ships to be
built.
easily
So you had to go
printable.
back
A
in
lot of stuff
and
that you
build all of those
you have to
pieces.
think of beforehand
How much
in
ores,
making a
ingots, and
ship.
components go into the
We're
ship?
not going to care
It's a
about that.
large grid. It's only the one
The
grid.
long of the short,
Other
or the
little
short of the
bits in
long
here,
of the
its
story
length.
is
So those are all
even
pretty
after
cool
the ship
things.
had successfully
The
printed, there were a number
orientation
of
here
components which
also
were
tells
not
you
built.
the,
You had to go back in
where's
and
my
build all of those
thrust
pieces.
capacity here?
How much ores, ingots, and components
This because
go
this
into
only
the ship.
calculates
It's a large
the
grid. It's
hydrogen
only one
thrusters.
grid. other little bits
unless
in
I'm
here.
just
It's like,
completely blind.
so
Mods,
those are all
yeah, here we
pretty
are.
cool things.
Or hydrogen acceleration.
The orientation
Even if
here
you had ion
also
or
tells
atmospherics
you
on there,
the-
it doesn't detect them.
Where's my
I don't know why,
thrust
but it
capacity
doesn't give you
here?
good numbers. But
Because
these
this
thrust
only
directions are
calculates
based on
the
this
hydrogen thrusters.
orientation. So I know I have a ton
Unless
of
I'm
up
just
thrust and a
completely
ton of
blind.
forward
Mods,
thrust.
yeah, here
So
we are.
those
Our
two
hydrogen
biggest
acceleration.
numbers are
Even
these
if you
guys
had
here.
ion or atmospherics on there,
So one is
it
up,
doesn't
which
detect
I
them.
assume is
I
the
don't know why,
most,
but
and then it
doesn't
says
give you good
backward,
numbers.
which is
But
actually forward.
These thrust directions are based on
So
this
you can always
orientation.
change that, and
So
that's
I know I
precisely
have
what I
a
did
ton
on
of
that
up
Defiant
thrust and a
one.
ton of forward thrust.
Left and right,
So
those are going to
those
be
two
equal,
biggest numbers
because I know I
are
made
these
those
guys
about the
here.
same, and then down
one is
because I
up,
don't care
which
about
I
stopping my
assume is
vertical
the
motion
most,
as much.
and then it
And then
says
this is actually the
backward,
backwards
which
one.
is actually
So
forward.
that's pretty neat. And over average
So
thrust is
you
about
can always
4.8
change
meters
that,
per
and that's
second.
precisely what I
It's a
did
big
on that
glass.
Defiant one. Left
Other
and right,
little
those are gonna be
bits of
equal,
information in here.
because I know I made
There is
those about
a
the same,
DPS
and then
one
down, because I
somewhere.
don't care about stopping my vertical motion as much.
Automation,
And then this is actually the
electricity,
backwards one.
big
So that's pretty
reactors,
neat.
how much
And
stuff I'm
over
going to use.
average
Where's the
thrust is
DPS
about
one?
4.8 meters
It's
per
also
second.
not
It's a
super
big glass.
accurate because here we go.
Other little
Turrets says
bits of information
18,000
in here.
DPS, and I've got
There's a
some Gatling
DPS
ones on there.
somewhere.
12. I don't know why it's saying that, but it's just if this were
Automation, electricity,
better, and I don't know who made this. This is still cool
reactors,
for what
where's
I'm
the
using it
DPS?
for.
Where's the DPS
But
one?
if this
It's
were
also not
upkept
super
and
accurate 'cause, here we
did
go.
everything the way we
Turrets
wanted
says
it to,
18,000
that would be super
DPS,
cool.
and I've
I think
got,
this is something else that the
Gatling ones
community
on
could
there.
like use a lot
12.
more of,
I don't know
especially if
why
you're doing
it's saying
lore
that.
and
But it's just,
components
if
and
this
ship
were
manufacturing.
better, and I
This
don't
is
know
a
who made
very
this. This is still
cool
cool
tool
for what
to
I'm
use.
using it for. But if this
Enough of
were,
that.
upkept and
Fan
did everything
fair.
the way
Let's
we
go
wanted
over
it to,
here and we'll
that would
go
be super cool. I
Notepad,
think
my
this is
best
something
friend.
else that the community could like use a lot more of, especially
We'll
if
pull
you're doing lore
you,
and
and we'll also
components and
pull
ship
up you.
manufacturing. This
And
is a very cool tool.
let's go look
to
at
use.
the Defiant,
Enough of
because
that.
I broke these things up all over the place.
Fan
We can
fair.
toggle
Let's
in
go over
between.
here. We'll go
The Defiant has
my best friend.
text all over the place, and I just kind of broke up the
You
components and
also
things
pull up
as I moved
you.
them around. So
And
that is what we'll do for
let's
the
go look
Behemoth,
at
just
the
to fill in all these
Defiant.
voided spaces.
I broke these things up.
Oh, so
all
we
over the place.
want
We can toggle in between.
components.
The Defiant has
Take all of these
text all over
guys.
the
Oops.
place, and I just kind of broke up the components and
Copy
things as I
and
moved them
paste,
around.
and that's going
So
to be
that is what
annoying.
we'll do
Let's
for
look
the Behemoth,
at
just to fill
what
in
we
all
have.
these voided spaces. Oh, so
These
we
are
want
components. Bulletproof glass. Take all of these guys. Oops. I think I cut out some of the things.
paste, and that's
Let's
gonna be
pull this
annoying.
over. Steel
Let's
plate.
look at
Construction components, metal grids, interior plate.
these are
This one actually has small
components,
tubes. I think this one has
bulletproof
some of
glass.
everything because that Defiant was never actually
I think I
completed.
cut out some of the things.
I mean, it doesn't have an
This
interior or
over
anything
steel
like
plate,
that.
Construction components, metal grids.
So I can take all these guys,
interior plate.
and
This one actually has.
it's
small
just going to be
tubes.
spacing.
I think this one has some of
We will
everything
space.
because that
Actually, they need
Defiant
to be
was
spaced the other
never
way.
Actually completed.
This is you're not going to show me, or
I mean, it doesn't have an interior or anything like that.
I'll leave that
So I
there
can take all
because
these
everything
guys
will be spaced to
and
here and to here. So
it's
that's
just gonna be
one
spaced.
thing. I want
Space.
some of
Actually, they need to be
these.
spaced the other way. This is you're not gonna
Copy
show me
that,
Berg.
and I can paste it in here.
I'll leave that
Acceleration
there,
profile was
'cause
another
everything was
one.
spaced to here and to here. So that's
I
one
want
thing. I want some
acceleration
of
profile.
these.
You're gonna let me get that.
Copy that, and I can paste it in here.
Copy and paste.
Acceleration profile was another one.
And costs.
I want.
Where did this info come
acceleration
from?
profile. Let me get that.
Costs. PCU.
Copy and paste.
I just copied it like that.
And costs.
And I'll move it over so we can see the edit.
Where did this info come from?
I think that's all we want in there. So again, Photoshop is being dumb.
I just copied it. That. And I'll move it over so we
Minimize
can see
Photoshop.
the,
Minimize.
edit.
We'll scooch this over.
I think that's all we want in there.
Photoshop's not letting me have everything that I want.
Photoshop is being
I have all this stuff sorted so that all the numbers are going to be in a similar lineup. So let's, because this is on a vertical line here, and then these are all right aligned. Let's go this way.
That I want. I
That,
have all this
that,
stuff sorted so that all
and
the numbers
I just want these
are going to be in
on the
similar
same plane
lineup.
for where they're
So
supposed to be.
Because this is on a vertical line here, and then
Conveyor
these are
blocks go
all
here,
right aligned.
and I can put
Let's
that about.
go this way.
This number I don't care about, so I'll add
that,
252
and I just
to
want
that.
these on
We'll
the
do
same plane for where they're supposed to be.
3, 4,
Conveyor blocks go here.
4, 3, 9.
This number
4, 3, 9.
don't care about, so I'll add 252.
And it's gone. I don't care about cylindrical blocks.
We'll do.
And then I can add 146 here. Goes to 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 5, 8, 5.
4, 3, 9.
Gone. I do want the
it's gone. I
gyros.
don't care about
120
cylindrical
gyros. So
blocks.
yeah, 120 gyros, and it's still that slow.
And then I can add
Another 80
146
to
here.
you, which goes to
Goes
60.
5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 5, 8,
4.
5.
And you're gone. Armor plates more.
I do want the gyros. 120 gyros.
I do
so
67.
120 gyros, and it's
14,
still that slow.
15.
Another
150 goes to 79.
60.
And you're gone. More slopes, another
And you're gone. Armor
46.
plates more.
We'll go 8.
I do 67. 14,
8 to 1.
15.
1, and it doesn't really
50
matter. I don't know
goes
why I'm
to
bothered
79.
doing all the math for it, if my math is even correct.
More slopes.
Hydrogen thrusters.
We'll go 8.
28 seems low.
8 to 1.
Cube viewport, we don't
1,
care.
It doesn't really matter. I don't know
We'll
why I'm
do
bothered
more thrusters,
doing
so
all the math
28
for
goes
it,
to
if
40,
my math is even correct.
52.
Hydrogen thrusters.
Another, I'm going to
28
skip
seems
that,
low.
that. I will add other 40.
Cube viewport, we don't care. We'll do more
40
thrusters.
blocks.
So 28 goes to 40.
Up here.
52.
I go 6. We have
Another.
they're not missile turrets, but they're large
Skip
caliber
that.
turrets.
We'll add other 40.
I don't care about these. I
40
do care
blocks.
about the 12
Up here. I go
Gatling
6.
guns. Blocks, I don't
Yeah.
care. Another 12 goes up
They're not
here.
missile turrets, but
Goes
they're
to
large
7.3.
caliber turrets.
Gone. And
Don't care
large
about
railgun.
These.
That 10 is going to go
Do
here.
care about the 12.
Cockpit
Guns.
bathrooms, lockers. Do not
Blocks,
care.
don't
I do
care.
want
12
my
goes up here. Goes to 7.3.
large caliber gun.
Gone. And large railgun.
Sure.
10 is going to go here.
Rear door. 8 tanks.
Bathrooms, lockers. Do not care. I do
8 jump
want
drives.
my,
Half corners, so we want to add 16.
Short.
Sci-fi wall, shower,
Rear
doors,
8 tanks.
connectors. Don't care.
Jump drives.
Don't care. And we'll add cryo
Half
chambers.
corners, so we want to add
Consoles.
16.
Care about passages. We want to add 16 up here, which will go to
Wall, shower, door,
8, 9.
connectors. Don't care. Don't care.
Or don't care about
And we'll add cryo
passages,
chambers.
or corners, or blocks,
Consoles. Care about
corners,
passages. We want to add
cameras,
16 up here.
oxygen generators. I will leave in there. Cargo containers, 3. There's more. 3 oxygen tanks sounds about right.
Corners or blocks.
And tips inverted 369
Oxygen generators. I will leave in
another
there.
15. What is this? Another
Cargo
connector.
containers.
Catwalk. I don't care about any of these.
There's more.
I will add those 2 reactors.
3 oxygen tanks sounds about right.
What do we want up here?
And tips
15,
inverted 369
994.
What is this? Another connector.
914.
Walk.
914.
I don't care about any of these. I
2
will add those 2
reactors.
reactors.
2 more cargo containers.
What do we want up here? 15 994.
9. Actually, 2 refineries.
2 reactors.
Quarter panel
Cargo
lights.
containers.
I do not care about lights. Do care about the assembler. 2 assemblers. Batteries. Don't care.
2
Don't care.
refineries.
Don't care.
Quarter panel
Scoot
lights.
you back this way.
Do not care about
So there's
lights.
this is like every component that goes into it.
Care
Most
about
of them
the
I don't care to
assembler,
put on that
assemblers.
sheet. It's not necessary to
Batteries.
get super detailed, and I could really just drop all these
Don't
things too.
care, don't
I
care,
have more than enough just to
don't
populate
care.
the page with data
Scoot
that looks
back
important.
this way. So this is like
Well,
every
these are
component that goes
all-
into it. Most of them
Don't
I don't
care.
to
There's
put
a
on that
gravity
sheet.
generator. I thought there were
It's
2 because the
not
ship is so
necessary to
big.
get super detailed, and I could really just drop all of these things too. I have more than enough just to populate
Bacon, projector,
the
remote
page
controls.
with
Don't care, don't care, don't care.
data that
Contract
looks
blocks,
important.
railing, and done. I don't care about that.
These are all
And now I've got
care.
this big
There's a
chunk of
gravity
stuff.
generator. I thought there were 2 because the ship is so
Those are components. These are actual blocks, and then I can move these to be in something that makes sense. So I can put like weapons systems and support systems together and
railing
combine.
done. I don't care about that.
Where's this card?
And now I've got this
Your
big chunk
extra.
of stuff. Those are components. These are actual.
And because
blocks.
this is,
Move these
I'm
to
going
be
to put it in
something that
terminal,
makes sense,
and
so I
that's
can put, like,
what
weapons
Notepad
systems and
does
support
everything.
systems
So every
together and
character,
combine.
every space, everything
Where's this card?
is actually
Your
the same space in here. So it makes spacing everything really nice because I don't have anything fancy to deal with.
This is
We'll make sure
I'm
large
gonna
caliber
put it in
turret,
terminal,
large
and that's
caliber
what Notepad
Gatling, large
does
caliber
everything. So
railgun.
every character, every
So these
space,
are our
every
weapons.
everything is actually the
Separate
same
you
space in
guys.
here. So it makes spacing everything really nice. 'cause I don't have
Large
anything
missile
fancy
turret
to deal with.
or
Make
medium
sure large
turret.
caliber turret, large caliber
28 of you guys.
Gatling, large caliber railgun. So these are our
Put
weapons.
those together. Armor conveyor,
Separate you
gyro,
guys.
thrusters are important to be separate. Large
missile
block, large
turret
caliber
or,
gun.
medium.
These are the
turret.
big fixed guns. So we can
28
go
of you
railgun,
guys.
fixed caliber
Put those
turret.
together. Armor conveyor, gyro,
Large caliber
thrusters are
turret.
important to be
Go here.
separate.
Medium.
Large block, large caliber gun.
Medium caliber
are
turret.
The big fixed.
Those that go
guns. So we
together.
go
What else do we
railgun,
want to put together? Jump
fixed,
drives. Go
caliber
to thrusters.
turret.
Thrust.
Large caliber
Bam.
turret. Go up here. Medium.
We can even put reactors in there.
Medium caliber.
I like
turret.
that idea.
Those that go together. What else do we
Assemblers,
want
batteries. We'll
together?
put
Jump
batteries up there
drives,
too.
go
It's because it's
thrusters.
power system. This is nope.
Thrust.
So
Bam.
we put armor, conveyors,
We can even
gyro.
put reactors
We're going
in
to do
there.
anything. These gyro
I
are going to
like
go with
that idea.
the thrust.
Assemblers, batteries. We'll put batteries up there too. It's because it's power system. This is
We'll put it with the
nope.
thrust.
So we put armor,
we go.
conveyors, gyro,
Oxygen
do
tank,
anything
oxygen
gyro
generator,
with the thrust.
cryo chamber, oxygen tank, hydrogen tank. So these are hydrogen tanks, not oxygen
Put it with
tanks.
the thrust.
Hydrogen, oxygen,
Yep.
cryo, This is cargo.
Oxygen.
Let's take
oxygen
cargo
generator.
and go up here with
Cryo
the
chamber,
conveyor system and the
oxygen
manufacturing.
tank, hydrogen tank. So these are hydrogen tanks.
Cool.
Not oxygen
That looks
tanks.
interesting. And a gravity generator.
Oxygen,
You can be miscellaneous
cargo.
support with the
Let's take
rest of
cargo.
this.
Go up here.
Yeah.
The conveyor system and
Sure.
the manufacturing.
And then we can put this stuff
Cool.
in
That looks interesting.
our
and
our,
a gravity generator.
Photoshop.
You
But
can be
I'm going to take a
miscellaneous
quick
support
bio break
with
here.
the
And let's
rest of this.
do, how do I,
Yeah.
thing O
Sure.
here. We'll do
And then we can put
that.
this stuff in.
No, not that one, because that's the
our-
ugly temp one. We'll do this one, because that's all I got at the moment.
But
That is way more epic than it has any business being. I really like that. I'm glad that came out as well as it did. All right, back on to some tedium here. Going about more bits. I already did that. I got these separated just
that is
enough
way more
into
epic than
pieces
it has any
for
business being. I really like that. I'm glad that came out as
stuff.
well.
This is my thrust
All right,
profile,
back on to some tedium here.
whatever I called it.
Going about more
Thrust
bits.
profile.
I already did that. I've got these separated just enough into pieces.
Average
for
there. Up was probably
stuff.
that
This
10.
Is my thrust profile. Whatever.
We'll move
I called
these to the right positions.
Thrust profile.
Down is right. Forward is backward. Average there. Up was forward.
Probably that 10.
And that's up, and
We'll move
down.
these to the right positions. Down is right.
We'll
Forward.
leave comma in there.
Forward.
PCU, one grid.
It's forward.
Boatload of, I don't know why I put a space in there.
And that's up
Boatload of blocks and components and
down.
welder time and assembly time and refinery time. And that's all the
We'll
things.
leave
We'll move that back over here, and we will Photoshop up because it wants to fight us. Acceleration profile. That's what I called it.
And builder time and assembly time and refinery time. And that's all the
Acceleration
things.
profile.
Move that
I don't
back
think I
over
labeled any of
here
the other
and we will
bits.
Photoshop
I
up
did not.
because it wants to
So
fight
now it's
us.
just a matter of parting this up and
Acceleration
filling
profile.
in the
That's what I
space.
called it.
We'll turn Defiant off, Behemoth on. Scooch that over, and we need.
Acceleration
Oh crap! What was
profile.
it?
I don't think I labeled any of the other bits.
Defiant.
I did not.
Text.
So now it's just a matter of
You are
parting this
terminal
up
24
and
white.
filling in the space.
That's what I
We'll
wanted to see.
turn
Defiant, go
Defiant
away.
off, Behemoth on.
And these are all of
Scooch
my
that
Defiance
over, and we need
layers. This is the duplication. I don't want to see you. I do want your text. And then I can go
terminal 24
copy some of this, because this is what's going to get me.
Defiant, go away.
I take
And
half.
these are all of my Defiance layers.
That looks like
This
half.
is the duplication. I don't want to see you. I do want your
Probably
text.
shouldn't have just cut it.
And then I can go.
So that's all aligned appropriately. This is
gonna
as
get me.
far out.
I take.
Put you here. Hit space
That
or
looks like half.
backspace so I can align all of my numbers, because I have this all
Probably shouldn't have
to the
just cut
right
it.
align. And that way I can have
So
all of
that's
this
all
aligned and all of that
appropriately.
aligned.
This is as far out. Put you here. Hit space or
Not that it matters,
backspace
it's
so I
just
can align all of my
fodder for the
numbers, 'cause I
screen.
have this all to the
Then I
right
can put
align.
this here or
That way I can
wherever.
have all of this aligned and all
Same
of
thing
that
here.
aligned.
I will text and paste, and it is in a similar configuration. Bulletproof glass is actually
Not that it
radio
matters, it's
components
just
are the biggest one.
fodder for
So
the
move
screen.
everything out to that
And
far
I can put this
over
here
here.
or wherever.
And that way it just looks a
Same
little
thing
more
here.
organized, even though it
Text and
really
paste,
doesn't matter
and it is
whatsoever.
in a
I
similar
just want it to look
configuration.
semi-decent.
Bulletproof glass
Depends on what you want to
is
put
actually
in
radio
for
components.
your time and
biggest
effort
one.
on things,
Move
and
everything
clearly
out
I
to
choose to
that
put
far.
a lot of effort into something that will
here.
have very little screen
that way
time
it just
and
looks
no
more
significant value.
organized. Even
Let's
though
go
it really
here.
doesn't matter whatsoever.
This one,
looks semi-decent. Depends
that's
on
it.
what you want to put in for your time and
Here, and we'll
effort
just
on
set it center.
things, and clearly
I may
choose
even need to
put a
move some
lot of
stuff
effort
around.
into something that will have very little screen time and
Yeah, I think I might have to.
value.
Let's
Let's
do
go here. This one.
this bit next.
Let's sit
Over here, and we'll do another T and
here,
paste.
and we'll just set it center.
And
I may
you
even need to
vanilla
move some
armor
stuff
blocks.
around.
I'll just call it light armor blocks. I don't care about it being vanilla.
Yeah, I think I might have to.
Cargo container. I can get rid
Let's
of
do
that.
this bit next.
Refinery, large refinery,
Here,
assembler,
and
large assembler,
T and paste.
industrial. I just need
Do
those
vanilla
bits. So
armor
now
blocks. I'll just call it light armor
conveyor.
blocks. I don't care about it being vanilla.
Nope. Light
Cargo
armor block is now
container,
the
I can
biggest.
get rid of that.
That should be good enough.
Refinery,
Actually, that refinery.
large refinery, assembler,
Larger
assembler,
refinery gone.
industrial. I just need
There we go.
those.
Those are
bits
lined up,
now,
and backspace
conveyor.
U, and assembler can go here.
Light armor
And
block
I
is
just
now the
noticed those have
biggest.
slashes, so that's gonna mess me up.
Actually, that refinery.
Space.
Larger refinery gone.
Okay.
There we go. Those are lined up and backspace U.
Yeah, why not?
And
That looks good.
assembler can go here. And I
These
just noticed those have slashes, so that's gonna mess me up.
paste.
Space.
We'll get rid of that. Gyro, large block gyro.
Yeah, why not?
Jump
That
drive.
looks good.
I don't need spaces, reactor, large block, large
Paste.
reactor,
We'll get rid of
battery block.
that. Gyro.
That's a capital
gyro,
large.
Jump drive.
And that's a capital
I don't
large,
need
large
spaces, reactor,
block.
large
block, large reactor, large hydrogen thrust. You get to be the biggest. Pop those out, and then I'll set that next to the, that's a capital hydrogen thrusters over there. Large block. That fits neatly. I like that. Guns would be good there, and that's precisely what I'll do. And then I'll set that next copy and T, paste. Hydrogen thrusters over there. And we already did this. Put some spaces in there. For weapons, we can align our ones and tens digits as we go through with spacing right aligned. That'll fit nicely here. Hydrogen tank, let's scooch our screen over. Perfect, we can put hydrogen tanks in here. Or ones and tens. Ooh, our acceleration profile in. Let's put I still have a fair bit more stuff, so we'll put these guys probably in there. Hydrogen tank, let's scooch our paste and perfect. Cryo chamber tanks in here, or get rid of that. Acceleration profile in. That looks good. I still have a fair bit more stuff. There. So we'll put these guys probably in there. Paste and cryo chamber. That looks fine. Acceleration profile. That looks good. There. That looks fine. Acceleration profile. Paste. What did the Defiant one look like? I just put. Ooh, I didn't even make the Defiant one look pretty. Shame on me. Or did I? Where's the Defiance acceleration profile? It's up there. And meters per second. That's what I did. Acceleration profile. Ooh, I didn't even make the Defiant meters per second. Because I can't do anything else on there. Scooch you out. Where's the Defiance acceleration profile? It's up there. And meters we're going down to the tens digit profile. Make sure all of my decimals are aligned. Per second. Because I can't do that. Will look good there, and I can even. I'll move this here, and now I have to go into going down to thruster 2 and thruster 2. Move you guys over to the edge of the page. That will look good there. That looks good. I'll move this. Get rid of here. That. And PCU costs. Perfect. All those bits. And thruster 2. Grids, blocks, components. Let's do some spaces here. That looks good. Maybe a couple more. Get rid of. I just need. And PCU costs. Perfect. All days, hours. Grids, blocks, components. Ooh, let's do decimal block? Yeah. Here. Maybe a couple more. I just need. There we go. And that can sit there. Actually, I don't even think I had the name of either of these ships on there. So that's a shameful oversight. And I can add things in here easily. There we go. This is locked by that height, which is fine there, because I was like, I could just move this up. No. The name of either. So whenever I make a change to this, as long as I save the file as the same thing, when I update the video editing, it'll update that picture too. Fine there, because I was like, so for example, this is blue. And I want. So whenever I make a change to let's this, do a save the file duplicate as the same thing. BG when I duplicate the let's call it a the video editing gray background. It'll update that picture too, Copy. And if
So,
I get
for
rid of, I
example,
don't
this
even
is
have to get rid
blue,
of you.
and
Let's
I
do a
want,
color.
let's do a
You're not going to let me
duplicate.
do that, so we'll do it this way.
Fuji
I'm on you, paintbrush.
Let's call it
Let's
a
do it a
gray
light gray. What kind of
background.
color contrast do we get with that? Washes out way too
And
much.
get rid of, I don't even,
That's a little neater. Let's do a color. That's pretty cool. You're not going to let me do that, so we'll do it this way.
I
I'm
like
on
that.
you, paintbrush.
I don't even
Let's do
remember
what color I had
gray.
used
Kind of
before.
contrast we get with that.
Because this is, we're getting some nice contrast, kind of like before we made the alpha to invisible.
That's pretty cool.
We're getting some good contrast in here. So I just need to pick
I like that.
something. I don't even remember what color I had used before. Maybe this.
Because this is, we're getting
Or
some
lighter.
nice
I don't like the
contrast,
lighter
kind
one.
of like before we
That's
made
okay.
the
This is
alpha to
3 gradients
invisible.
deep.
We're getting some good contrast in here.
I think
So I just need
that
to
looks pretty good. Something. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. So again, we'll save, and I will save as 3 gradients deep. I think save as a PNG. We're going to call this, I think that looks pretty blueprints. So again, we'll save, and I will call it a Defiant Blueprint, so I will just call this Behemoth. Even though it is a gray print. Actually, that was something else I was thinking of that would be neat, is to have these go through their different colors based upon the schematics. So that one, so I can make this same thing in just as a blue background. But that blue, I don't really like it.
Actually, that was something
as much
else
as I
was
thought I
thinking of
would.
that would be neat, is to have
That's a
these go
lighter
through their
blue.
different colors.
What if we went
based
darker?
upon the schematics.
That's cool.
So that one, so I can make this.
I like that
same
one.
thing in
Let's
just
make
as a blue background.
Ooh, I
with the
really like that.
blue, I don't
Let's make the Bye Bye Behemoth. We'll make the Defiant this dark blue.
That's a
Perfect example. So let's do a quick save here, and then we'll minimize and open up you. So right now, this is light blue coming through here, and that's what I have the image saved as that's loaded in. We'll minimize, we'll go to Photoshop,
this dark blue.
and we
Perfect
will,
example. So let's
we'll
a
do
quick save
save as a
We'll minimize
PNG,
and open up you.
and we
So
will
right
save
now,
over
this is
Defiant
light blue
Blueprint.
coming through here, and that's what I
Save
have
over.
the
Do you want to
image
replace it?
saved
I
as
do.
That's loaded in.
Replace.
We'll minimize.
That
we'll
looks
go
pretty
to
cool.
Photoshop,
Let's.
and we
want to fart around. Let's
save
do
as
different color.
G,
Ooh, what if we even went purple?
and we will
No.
save over
Darker?
Defiant Blueprint.
Passable.
Save over. Do you want to replace it? I do.
It's
Replace.
easy.
That looks pretty cool.
There we go. We'll save that one.
We want
Anyways, we'll go back over here to Shotcut.
Ooh, what if we even went
This
purple?
Defiant Blueprint, we don't want the second one.
Passable.
Because that's going to be a Behemoth.
Easy.
These are just spacers for the longer transition that I was going to have in there.
Anyways,
this is the Defiant
we'll go
Blueprint,
back
so if we move
over
our
here to
cursor over here, it doesn't even know what it's looking at
This
anymore.
Defiant Blueprint,
But we can
don't want the
delete and
second
Control
one.
Z, and it'll pull it back up. At least it
that's going
should
to
pull
be
it back up
a
in the
Behemoth.
correct color
These are just spacers
as I
for
saved over it, so
the
it'll actually
longer
update that.
transition that I was going to have in
I
there.
also
This is the
want
Defiant Blueprint, so
this.
if we move our
Where are
cursor over
you?
here, it
Behemoth.
doesn't even know what it's looking at anymore. But we
Behemoth was
can,
gray.
Delete and
Looking for
Control
something
Z,
gray.
and it'll
Behemoth
pull it
Blueprint.
back up.
Toss you
At
in there.
least it should
Behemoth
pull it
Blueprint
back
can
up
come
in
down
the
here.
correct color, because I saved over it, so it actually
And
updates that.
Make that
I
bigger.
also want
Down to the same
this.
layer. And
Where
we
are
will
you?
press you over for the merge. And then this
was gray.
properties
Looking for something
was
Blueprint. Toss you in there. Behemoth Blueprint can come down here.
left to right inverse.
And make that bigger.
There we go. So
Down
if
to
we
the
come
same
back
layer,
over here,
and
now it's
we'll
starting to
press
pick
you
up the
over
correct thing.
for
So
the
our
merge.
screen is now
This
the correct color blue.
properties
We jump all the way over to the
was
front. This is all messed up now. I have to fix that because I want it to be scrolling across and not zooming out. So that's super annoying, but it's why you look at these things all the time.
Our screen is now
And
the correct
then
color blue.
that's
we
not
jump
supposed
all
to
the way
get
over to the
smaller.
front.
It's just supposed to scroll across.
This
And
is
then we
all
would have a
messed up now. I
transition.
have to fix
And then
that
this one
because I
doesn't
want it
have
to
any
be
filters because
scrolling
we just put
across
it
and
in.
not,
But that's
zooming
just going to be
out.
right
So
there. But I want it to
that's super
scroll
annoying, but
across like
it's
the other
why
one
you
did.
look at these things
So
all
this
the
was in
time.
place for,
And then
how long is that?
that's not supposed to get
20
smaller, it's just supposed to
seconds.
scroll across.
So if we go
And then we
here,
would
this
have a
is
transition,
25. So we go
And
to
then this one doesn't have any filters because we just put it in.
45.
But that's just gonna
That
be
is
right
where
there. But I
this
want it
needs to
scroll
extend to.
across like the other one did.
There.
So this was in place.
And that's when we go
for-
you and
how
you,
long is that?
and we'll copy
20
and paste. And there's our
seconds.
next
So if we go
merge
here,
markers.
this is
So
25,
this one
so
will
we'll go
actually
to
go up to here.
45.
And now we can mess
That
with
is where this needs
this
to extend to.
transition because it is acting dumb.
And that's when we
I
go
can
here,
only do the
copy,
one.
and paste, and there's our next merge
Let's
marker.
go
so
here
This one will
because I
actually
don't
go
want
up to here.
this scale. I may even
And
want
now
it to
we
be
can
smaller.
mess with this transition because
No,
it is acting dumb.
just zoom.
I can
And then
only
the
do
position.
the
This is
one.
its initial position. So I want it on screen
So here
for the initial
'cause I don't
position. I can
want
go down here.
this scale.
This is
I
going to
even
be
want
like
it to be
my
smaller.
loading screen thing I'm thinking. So I can have
No,
little quotes down here
just zoom.
and can make this
And then the
just a bit bigger.
position, This
Little
is
quotes
its
down there.
initial position,
A
so I want
little,
it on
starting
screen
soon up
for the
here,
initial
or a
position.
bigger
If we
one
go
rather.
down here,
And then this is my primary.
this is
So
gonna be like
154
my
is my
loading
zoom.
screen thing I'm thinking, so
You
I can
all the
have
way to the
little
ends.
quotes down here.
You are going to
Make this
stay
just a bit bigger. quotes down there.
154 my zoom.
Little, starting soon up here.
And I
or
don't
a
want
bigger
that
one
going
rather.
up there.
And then this is my
I can come over
primary.
here, edit
So
this
154 is
position
my
to
zoom.
0, so that should scooch
You
it
all the
over.
way to the ends.
140 is where
You
I'm
are gonna
at.
Stay
So here we will go to
154, my
position 0.
and I don't want that
No, we'll
going
go
up
here.
there.
This will
I
be
can come over here,
140.
edit
That's it
this
pushed down.
position to
And then
0, so it
that
should scooch it over.
0 will come to
140 is where
here.
I'm at.
So it's probably going to
Here we
be
will go
minus
to
10,
position
24.
0. No, we'll go here. This will
And
be
140.
140. That's it pushed down.
And my
And
zoom.
then that 0 will come
Yeah.
to.
That way it can scroll across. So if I come over here,
So
I want this to
probably going to be minus
slowly
10,
move.
24.
I'm not changing the size. I'm not changing the zoom. Its
And
position is shifting to the left.
And my zoom.
It's a nice gentle scroll.
Yeah.
It looks very
That way
nice
it
in
can
that darker
scroll
blue. I like
across. So if
that
I come
much
over
better than the
here,
lighter blue.
I want this to slowly move.
And then we have a transition before we
Not
get to the
changing
end, but it's
size, I'm
still
not
moving.
changing the zoom.
So
Its
that
position is
is
shifting
fine
to the left.
because ultimately I want it to
It's a
keep
nice
going.
gentle scroll. It looks
So
very nice
this
in that darker
is
blue. I like
what I
that
want.
much better than the
That's
lighter blue.
good. Save and come here.
then we
And
have a
because
transition
these
before we
filters
get
are
to the end,
correct,
but
I
it's
should
still
just be able to
moving.
copy paste.
So
Because I
that
have
is
these set to
fine,
keyframes, and then I
because
come
ultimately I
here
want it to
and
keep
paste these
going.
keyframes, and ideally
So
they should
this
be in the
is
correct
what I
position.
want.
This one's
good.
actually starting
Save and come
there.
here.
So let's watch
And
here.
because these filters are correct, I should
We'll
just
watch
be able
as
to
we
copy
scroll
paste,
across.
because I have these
This
set to
blueprint should not
keyframes,
end.
and then I come
We begin
here
the
and paste these
transition,
keyframes,
and we're
and
already
ideally, they
into the
should be
next
in the
one.
correct position. This
If
one's
anything,
actually
I can
starting
push that
there.
back a little
So
bit.
let's watch.
And that's more fine-tuning than anything.
We'll watch as we scroll across.
But this is looking pretty
This
good
blueprint should not end
as we come
begin the
across, and then
transition, and we're already into the next one. If anything,
this
I
is
can
where
push
you would
that
have another transition going
back
through,
a
so it
little
wouldn't
bit.
pause there.
And that's more fine-tuning than anything.
But that is pretty neat.
But this is looking
And
pretty
all
good.
of that, so that was
Come across and
well,
then
almost 4 hours of work for just this one picture so we could merge a couple things together.
this is where you would.
And that's because I had hammered out the process largely. Didn't have to build the ship from scratch or anything like that.
And
But that is a little bit of editing and a little bit of making magic for things here in the background, all to get almost a minute of. This likes to do 2 minutes if I have that starting, or I could just play this and then make it start the stream with this, and that way it can go on a loop. And I can make this as long as I need to and keep updating and re-rendering the video as much as I need to. But I think I'm going to make this 2 minutes to start with, because that way it can sit on the preload screen. 'Cause I think it's pretty cool. And then to fix the scrolling through everything, I would just cut this somewhere and add it to the end, so that this will actually begin somewhere in the middle, and as it loops through to the end, as it transitions, it'll actually transition to somewhere through here and actually be playing by the time it hits that cutoff at 2 minutes. And then it'll pick back up here in the same position as it were going. But I won't bother with that, not while I'm still working out some of these kinks in here, just so we can keep things moving along. But at the moment, I'm kind of losing my voice. I'm going to continue to work on this, but it's going to be largely the same process through any other ship. So for now, I'm going to keep working, and I hope that we do see some more edits and efforts and ships and stuff like that, because I absolutely love to see those kinds of things. Post them on the workshop, post them in chats, post them wherever you want to. Just keep building, just keep sharing. That's the best thing in the world. Until next time, go forth and build great things. See you then.
And ships and stuff like that, because I absolutely love to see those kinds of things.